I'm taking it back, come follow me.
Big boss innovation, smoke loud, cross inhalation. For years now, you've been living on false information, so get litty, I spit shitty. Need no help with my flow, so selfish, like nobody else's. The aroma of the flow is scented. To grace my presence, see I'm so authentic, skin flawless. Swimming in the youth fountain, I move mountains, but who's counting? Your crew doubting? Google me, I'll scratch up data. Listen now, homie, catch up later. Make rounds as I snatch up paper. Fuck it, it's just natural, all actual. Living in the glass house, throwing bricks at you. Your broad think I'm so delicious. So please hold your bitches while I'm G-rapping on the road to riches.
Taking it back, come follow me. 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 Incredible, lyrical, and original. Taking it back, come follow me. Incredible, lyrical, and original.
Flamboyant new millennial. Yeah. Uptown hood. Sound good with any style. Out scratch unfiltered. Twisted. Tilted. You know the flow, I killed it. Audio too. I know you loving how I milked it. Getting love, hugs, and kisses. I'm so ambitious. All the homies round the way, they know what this is. Some say I'm too malicious. Your baddest side bitch couldn't do my dishes. Never. I leave her pants all damn. Travel around the world, get my passport stamp. Peep my hot style, it's the new official. Really ain't concerned about who is you. Fresh look with the new vision. Ain't think I would, hun, did you? Watch how it bang, flame, sizzle.
Taking it back, come follow me. 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 Incredible, lyrical, and original. Taking it back, come follow me. Incredible, lyrical, and original. Come follow me. Come follow me. Come follow me. Incredible, lyrical, and original.
Tell them run it all.
What is going on? What is going on? Everybody in the house, what is going on? Wake up in Cleveland every single morning.
I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it all. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it all. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it all. I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it all.
What is going on? What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on? Is I'm dangerously out of this camera. So let's move this camera so it makes a little more sense, because this is what happens when it's a Monday morning. Monday mornings always suck. You guys know how this works. Monday mornings suck. So let's move this camera a little bit. Please hold. There we go. That is better. That is better. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me out there. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. Wake up in Cleveland on this fine Monday morning. We have a very special guest today. Very, very special guest. As I joke around, I kid with him and I say, he's been ducking me. I've been trying to run him down for the last year. And it's funny. It could have been 3 weeks. But this year feels like 10 years. So it feels like I've been running this guy down for 10 years. 10 years. He had hair. He had hair back when I was running him down. I don't even know if he's still got it. Who knows? We'll have to see. I see him in the green room chilling. He was on time doing his thing, so I appreciate that. Mic up, please. Not the mic up, it's the volume down. That makes it a little easier. So, as everybody knows, everybody knows that on Mondays, this is how it is. It's a little bit chaotic because, well, I got a family life. So when I get home, like for instance, this weekend we had a dance competition. So it was hectic and stressful, and we're home now. But because of that, I didn't get to do the things I normally get to do. I didn't get to charge up my lights because we left to go out of town on Friday, and I legit thought for a minute I should probably plug in my lights. And then I thought because these are all, you guys know, these are the Ape Labs lights, and as great as they are battery powered. Not a problem. It's not their fault that I'm silly. But I went to go plug them in, and then I started thinking, you know how you think for a minute when you're leaving the house, like, you know what? I'm not saying that these things can burn my house down, but maybe this is the day that I plug them in and I come home and my house is on fire. So I opted to not plug them in. And because I didn't plug them in, well, they died and I had to switch them out, which isn't a problem. As you can see, I have extras, but still, it's a little bit chaotic. So I get home and, we're running around all day. We're exhausted from this dance competition. If you guys aren't dance parents, dance dads, dance moms, it's absolutely chaos. There's a lot of, as a dance dad, there's a lot of, where should I be? There's a lot of that going on. See what light turned off? See? Now this light turned off. It's not my day, but that's okay. That's why I have a good camera with a fast lens, so this isn't an issue. But I am going to plug them in because this bothers the hell out of me. But we'll put them in just a minute. So, as you guys all know, casket's sharp, but I don't have any of my lighting that I normally do because it's all dead. It's all dead. All of it. That's okay, though. The camera, the lens, the crispiness, it's all that really matters. I can't even go on other people's shows now and make them look bad. Anyway, make sure we got music going on here. Okay, it's there. So, ladies and gentlemen, hope everybody had a great weekend. Anybody working right now? Anybody work this weekend? Any DJs out in events? And let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you guys were working this weekend. I know a lot of people, depending on where you are. I think J Book was probably working. J Book lives in the Midwest where they never even shut down for quarantine. So, like, I have to squeeze out a party, like, secretly in a backyard with, like, 5 individuals. J Book has, like, 500 people at his parties. That is the joy of living in America. You think everybody's the same, but nobody's the same. California is way different than, Texas and Florida, but it is what it is. Look, if you can work right now, I'm not here to judge you. Go make that money. Go make that money. But we just can't work. We are very, very limited, and it absolutely sucks. Like, I actually could have worked on Saturday. I had a gig, street party, and I opted because I had to go to my kid's dance, and it was my daughter's birthday. So throw that in the mix. She's now 9 and going on 35. She's got a little attitude, but still, she's a great girl. We had a great time. We went to downtown Disney, and Disneyland is closed in California. It might be open in Florida because you guys are insane, but for California, Disneyland is closed. But the downtown Disney, which is like, I don't know, it's like their outdoor mall, that's open. So we went there for dinner, and I kid you not, insane. It's just a strip mall. Disneyland is closed. It still took people 2 hours to get into downtown Disney. 2 hours. People stood around waiting to walk into a mall. Essentially. Now, the good news is we had a reservation. So we got there because for some reason, it seems like everybody's on the freeways again. That's another thing that I'm very sad about. I'm sad that there are no more empty freeways. Everybody's on the roads now traveling, doing their thing. But, you know, I liked it better when it was just like 4 people on the freeway. That was great. That was great. So I see people in the chat saying they have weddings in May and April. Yeah, so I have events coming up. Even though there are either house parties or, you know, 50 to 60 people maximum, I do have events, and I'm happy to have them. You know, like it'd be greater if I could actually make money off of them. That's the thing. If you own a business, probably the last year I own a DJ company. So the last year has literally been me trying to figure out, you know, how to stay afloat, and people asking for money back. So there's all these things. And then we had to shut down our office. So everything's in storage. So that costs money, but we haven't been working. Nobody's been paying anything. So we haven't been able to really do anything. So all these jobs that I'm working, I'm not seeing a dime off of. That's the joy. Like all the money is going towards making sure that they don't sell everything that we have in storage. So when we do get back in the real world, we can actually have equipment, you know, not just equipment that people send me. But it sucks. All right. Let's do a little room check before we bring in the man of the hour. Before we bring in DJ Angelo. You're rocking with the best, as his videos love to put out there. They just stick in your head. How many people out here actually have looked or watched DJ Angelo's videos? Throw them in the chat. Throw a 1 in the chat if you actually have used his videos. I know that I have. I know that I can see him popping through it now. Yeah. They are kind of a staple. They're kind of a staple if you have any intention of ever trying to become greater than what you currently are. And you know, when you go looking for scratch videos, those are the ones that pop up first, because they've been the ones that have been on YouTube for the longest. Mixed Canvas, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Appreciate you. While everybody's throwing in the ones in the chat, let's do a little room check. As I said, we got Jay Book in the house. Loco Lopez, Ratbone, F105, Darwin. Hi, it's Danny, Philip Ton. Who else we got in here? We got Ratbone, we got T Diesel in the place to be. Mofire. Something to do about nothing. 666J, thanks for hanging out today. DJ Check. What else we got here? Anybody else in the chat? Throw yourself in the chat. Mix and Mel. Good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out today. Appreciate that. DJ312. Jorge Blanco. Good to see you. Skelly B in the house. Everfresh. What's going on, man? Everfresh. You're in Toronto, right? I believe you're in Toronto. Flash B. Vic Vaughn. Gator. Greatness. Everybody. Yep. Definitely Everfresh is in Canada. Good job. Kamzi. All right, let's see. People have said, let's see here. He is the one that got me into DJing. His videos are so instructive, and he is a great person. Is he, though? Can you really prove that he is a great person? All right. He has been sitting in here for a while. I do want to bring him in. I got a new mouse pad. This thing's driving me nuts. Let's see what we got here. All right. If you guys are on the YouTube side, I haven't honestly decided whether or not I'm going to keep the YouTube stream going, because this is a Twitch stream, and I would advise you guys, because I haven't decided, because I know people that started up like you're doing, like DJ TLM is great about opening up and saying, hey guys, we're moving it over. So if you want to keep watching, now is the time to move over. So I'm giving you guys the warning now that at any second, this stream could go down on the YouTube side. The checkbox is asking me to turn it off. I'm just throwing it out there. So everybody needs to move over to the Twitch side, because that's where this show, not YouTube. And people always say, well, are you leaving YouTube? No, I'm not leaving YouTube. Just this specific show, Wake Up in Cleveland, is specifically for Twitch. So make sure you guys are following and make sure you guys are viewing on Twitch. I want to see those numbers change hands here. Night Raid Entertainment, what's going on? All right, so we're going to move to our commercial. And then we're going to bring on Angelo. So sit tight. We're going to get everything finished preparing here. And let's move on over. So enjoy the commercial. See you in a second. Okay, look, I know you think this is a little weird that we're sitting here talking and I just left and I was in a completely different outfit. Well, that's future me. I'm past me. So what I want to talk to you guys a little bit about while they're setting up for this next guest that's coming on, and I'm sure they're going to be dope, but I want to talk to you a little bit about ways to support the channel. You see, there's a lot of work that goes into this channel, and the only way to keep it going, the only way to keep bringing on new people and upgrading the sets and upgrading the intros is by you supporting me. So here's a couple of ways that you can support me, and I'm not sure that a lot of you know this. If you're new to Twitch, you want to look down right here. There's a little subscribe button. That's the easiest way to support me. It's like $5. It's like buying me a cup of coffee. If we're at the bar, you're buying me a beer. If you're feeling a little more generous, maybe you want to gift somebody a free sub. If you are a Prime member, you can use your Prime membership. You get one per month. You can use that on me. It doesn't cost you anything. Now, if you're sitting there on the YouTube side, you can also hit that membership button right there, or you can give me a super chat and then send me off a tip. Look, I know that times are tough, money's tough, and I know that what I'm asking for some of you people might be a little too difficult. So there are other ways that you can help the channel. You can host the stream, share the stream. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, share the stream to everybody. Get the word out. That's the easiest way to help me out, and that doesn't cost you a dime. Those are just a couple of ways that you can do this. I think they're coming back, so I need to get out of here. Just remember what I said. We'll see you soon. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce the man of the hour. As I said before, this man has been a pillar in the DJ community. He has been, since the beginning of his YouTube career, he has been helping people try to perfect or improve their DJing skills. And he's done it in a way that is definitely easy to consume, easy to learn. Tips and tricks have always been of value. So, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to throw the ones in the chat, throw the wake ups in the chat, put your hands together. If I can get back to my StreamYards, put your hands together for Mr. DJ Angelo.
Check
what
1
is
2.
going on? Check 1 2. You're
Can you hear me?
Yep. You might be coming in a little hot, just a little hot.
A little hot. Okay.
Let me see
what I can do. Can you turn me down, or should I do it?
I think I can. Let me do that real quick.
Okay.
Edit mic settings.
What's up, CT?
Oh, I am good, man. I am good. Hold on, let's automatically adjust volume. Maybe that just fixed it. Okay. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good myself, man. Thanks for tracking me down. Thanks for being persistent as well. I can be a little slippery, I know.
You know, it's actually funny that you say that because I've had people. I haven't had this myself, but I've had other people that do talk shows, and the first thing they said, oh yeah, I'm persistent. I go out there and I keep asking, and then some people have like reacted negatively because you do continue to ask, and it's like, which is kind of the people that you ask's fault, because I feel like if they don't really have an intention of doing it, they should probably just say, you know what, I just, it's not for me. It's not for me. Instead of making it awkward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I got to be honest, at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it because I don't often do stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And it's not because I'm antisocial or a snob or anything. It's just, I'm kind of private, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I kind of like to let my work do the talking, and I don't really share too much about my personal life, I guess, behind my DJing. So take that as a compliment that I'm here with you, and I'm happy to be here. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks for showing the love. So let's get into it. Yeah, no,
they're all very, very excited, and look, I get it, and I know that's how some people are. So it's never really been an issue. If somebody were to say, you know, I don't want to do it, like I completely understand. And you know, coming from my perspective, I'm just a guy I randomly ask you, hey, do you want to come on the show? And if you're anything like me, I know people are like, well, maybe let me see what it is. Let me see what it's about. I don't know what it's about. It's kind of weird. And I know it takes a minute to kind of get up to a speed where people can kind of feel confident. And I'm not going to make you look like an idiot or, you know what I mean? Like there's sometimes you get out there, you're just like, why am I on this show? So
yeah, it's very revealing to do live stuff. And I guess a lot of people maybe don't feel they have much to talk about. And, especially given the last year we had. And
nothing's going on. You're right.
Your shows are long. And that was definitely part of the reason why I was hesitant to do this, because I thought, what am I going to talk about for 3 hours with Cleveland Terry? But anyway, I'm sure we're going to be all right today.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, it never has to be 3 hours. That
Sure.
time, it's just one of those things. Like I've said, personally myself, I can talk for 2 hours straight and be fine. And just kind of do my thing. I know it's not for everybody, but I have the gift of gab. What can I say?
And you're great at this, man. I've tuned into your previous shows, and I think the vibe you create is perfect. Really relaxed. So yeah, that's why I'm here, man. Like I said, I don't do it often, but I felt like this one was the one to do.
Well, perfect. Well, look, I'm a fan too. So for me, it's very interesting because as I'm kind of looking at stuff, and I'm trying to bring up my my YouTube, and it doesn't want to work properly at the moment. But when I was kind of looking through your stuff, trying to get a better feel for you, it's funny because I feel like I've kind of known you, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat have felt the same way, because you have been really a part of what I do, just kind of across the board. And so it's interesting when I'm looking at stuff going, okay, well, I'm bringing up videos like, oh, I've seen this video like 40,000 times. So I guess you know what? Let's take it back. Let's take it back to the start. Let's take it back to where you were beginning, because I went through your videos, and it's interesting because the first video you have is like a battle video. The first one you had, it was like 13 years ago. Obviously poorly shot. Looks like some crappy phone camera, whatever. But it's fine. It kind of it illuminates your skills. But then it's like right after that, you start going into lessons. So it's very interesting to me. How did it get started? Like, what made you say? And we can take it back to the history, but just far as YouTube, like
it's a long story.
Well, hey, we have 3 hours apparently.
It's a long story. Where do I start? So I guess a lot of people don't know that before anyone saw me as DJ Angelo on YouTube, I had like 2 previous careers before DJing.
Really?
I was in finance. I was in the corporate world first of all, which is weird. Like I never planned for that to happen. I graduated in media technology, so I was always into like film and animation and audio. But for some reason, I took the first job that I got offered when I got out of uni, and that happened to be for an internet bank. And I just got stuck there for 4 years, and lost track of my goals really. And but the whole time I was a DJ, I was a bedroom DJ. I was doing occasional gigs at my university parties and a few local stuff, a few local gigs. But I never had real ambitions to be full time at DJing. I never thought it was gonna work, because England's a tough place to make it as a professional career DJ. It's just it's a small country. There's not that many opportunities, really, and all the work was kind of going to the Radio 1 DJs, and they were the guys who were getting all the cool parties and stuff. So it's tough. But anyway, I eventually walked out of that job and fell into a teaching career for 4 years. And this was not teaching in schools as such. This was like government-funded community music projects. Because at that time, the government was putting a lot of money into the arts and trying to get these so-called, troublesome youths back into society, back into education. And I fell into that completely by accident. I was DJing somewhere and it was a battle with another DJ. I won the battle and I went to the bar and I met this guy at the bar who said, he liked what I did and he asked me if I could teach. And at that time I was kind of struggling and I said, yeah, of course, yeah, I can teach this, no problem. I took the opportunity before even knowing if I could, and that led to me like being a support tutor for Turntablism with another person. And then 4 years later, I kind of progressed to teaching in prisons, writing DJ courses, traveling all around the UK with my decks in the car, setting up in youth clubs in like rough towns and rural youth clubs. And I wrote an accredited course so that kids could study turntablism and then get into college and stuff like that. So I was like fully involved as like a community musician, and then that led to me taking a step back from DJing again, because I started to run projects and I wasn't DJing at all anymore. And that's when I realized I've gone off track again. Yeah. And I need to do something about this. And the money was good. That was the hardest thing. The money was good, and walking away from that meant I had nothing again. And I was back to square one. I was a broke artist for a while. But I decided that's it. This is the time to go for it. To put all the eggs in this basket. If it's now or never, let's see if I can make this DJing work. So I basically, what I was trying to say is I developed teaching skills, the ability to teach complete beginners, because I was always thrown into a room with like 25, 30 street kids who were just not ready to be taught anything. And I had to think fast, and I had to make this art form digestible for them and entertaining. And so I just kind of learned on the spot how to teach. And then, so during that time where I didn't have much work, I discovered YouTube, and I thought to myself, I have all this time on my hands. There's not a lot of DJ content on YouTube. This was early days, man. This was 2008, I think, was the first time. And YouTube was a way different place back then.
Of course, right.
The only DJ videos I remember at that time was some early tractor videos, like Native Instruments had a few.
Of course.
The ones I mean, the old ones, like Shifty's videos, and I think Rafik had one. And then there was this guy, Kubert's videos were on there, of course. Kubert's DIY scratch videos. But I always thought to myself, I not to diss Kubert, of course. Kubert's my man, but I was thinking, I think I could teach this in a different way. I think I have a different approach to how he's doing it. He scratched hamster style as well, which confuses
some people off.
Yeah, it threw me off. I couldn't learn watching him. So I thought, man, there's room for me on here. And so I had this plan to make these tutorials, and I bought this $50 camcorder from eBay. I suspended it on a curtain pole in my bedroom, and I just shot my first video. And coincidentally at that time, I met this guy who you guys might know, Elliskins from YouTube, who was the original DJ tutor on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
The DJ tutor, he called himself.
Yes, exactly.
Real name Jonathan Lewis. But I met him, because he's from the UK as well. I met him at an expo in Birmingham, and I got talking to him, and I said, yeah, I've seen your videos. And he basically said to me, if you can teach turntablism, then you can like jump onto my platform and handle that side of things. So I kind of came on board. That was a springboard, I guess, to get me from ground zero up. So I uploaded that first video, kind of crossed my fingers, thinking whether anyone would care about this unknown guy and whether they would trust what I have to say. I had no credentials, and the feedback was really good, thanks to all of you guys who watch, and that encouraged me to do more. And then one random day, YouTube had this thing called Music Tuesday.
Okay.
So every Tuesday they would like highlight videos on the homepage, on YouTube's homepage, and one week they highlighted my tutorials. So I
Really?
just gained like a shed load of subscribers that day, and that was it. I was up and running.
Well, here is your turntable tutorial number one.
No,
First
don't do
one,
it, man.
first one you ever did. Now, I do want to point out something. First off, your intros, even this long ago, and I know you modified them and you changed them up a little bit, but even at the beginning, like they were quality from the beginning. And that's probably one of the things that I think catches a lot of people because they see the video and they're like, "Huh, this." Even if like, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. Another thing a lot of people may not know about me is that I'm big on video. Like my first love was video before audio, I would say.
Okay.
I used to play with my dad's camcorder when I was like 9-10 years old, and
Right.
I have like home movies of little like short films that I made. So I was always I always loved visuals. I always loved the art of video, and so yeah, I always knew the kind of what to do and how to get attention. I guess. I mean, I'm still learning, of course, but I wanted something that would prove that I have some kind of credentials early on in the
Right.
video, and of course, 17 videos later, that intro is kind of annoying.
Well, let's
But,
take a look real quick.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
DJ Angelo.
You're rocking with the best. The best. Leave that. The best.
I'm the hottest round with the crazy style.
It's not a test.
What's happening, people? It's DJ Angelo and welcome to my turntable tutorials. If you want to learn more about turntablism, I'll be teaching you everything you need to know about scratching, beat juggling, DJ equipment and much more.
As your guide, I'll be doing my best to simplify this complex art form, and I'll also be sharing with you some personal tips from my own DJing experience. If you have any queries or want to share your advice with other turntablists, please get in touch via the website djtutor.com or leave a comment on YouTube.
DJtutor.com.
I want to hear about your experiences and about turntablism
Look at YouTube.
from your perspective.
Look at YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
Now,
These tutorials
yeah. Now, obviously, yeah. You had the one dedicated camera, no overhead, just a straight
man.
shot. You had to move
Ghetto.
into the frame.
Ghetto all the way. So ghetto. Hey, this is the camera. Check this out. This is the camera that I used.
Wait, that's the same camera?
That's the camera I shot those tutorials on. Look at that.
Oh man.
Second
Does it
hand
still work?
on eBay. It still works. Yeah. Tapes, man.
Uh-oh, what happened? Let me bring him back. Is he frozen? Am I frozen?
No, I'm good.
Am I the one that's freezing? Let's see if I'm
You're
there.
not frozen for me? Are you frozen? No, you're good. You're good. Oh, is he frozen? Yeah, he's frozen.
I'm
Are
still
we-
trying to figure out
Oh, there
what's
he is.
causing my. I'm still trying to figure out what's causing my issue. I have nobody on, but I'm having something going on with. I can't figure it out what it is. Can't figure it out. But we'll get through it. Maybe it's the secondary channel. I don't know. No big deal. We're strong. We'll get through it. By the way, shout out to Miss Ninja. I see her in the chat. DJ Flipside 33. I see him in the chat. Good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. L35 I saw in the chat. So you shot these videos. You got the DJ tutor bringing you along. Were all of the videos you shot, were they all in connection with him? Because I don't recall seeing that after a couple.
They were all on my YouTube channel, and they were just linked to his website. So they were
Okay.
never his property. It was all still me. And yeah, he just gave me the cosign, I guess, and I just ran with it and built my own platform and brand, and then that eventually led to picking up sponsorship from Reloop for the beat juggling tutorials, which was a whole nother learning curve of like business, getting paid for making content. Right?
Yeah. People don't understand how much it can, not so much change your life, but when it first comes around, people are like, "Hey, we want you to do something," and you've never done it before. It's like, how do you price yourself? How do you put a price, a value on what you do? Because it's all new to you, and you're probably like, you're thinking, "Hey, I mean, I got one camera. I'm scooting down to the camera so people can see, and now somebody wants to pay me to do it. How much do I charge? How much am I worth? That's got to be tough.
It's hard to know sometimes. I think the quick answer is to take what you would be happy with, pitch the price you would be happy with, or alternatively put it back on them to make you an offer. I don't know, man.
Right. I think
there's no right and wrong.
Well, when you don't know, hold on, I'm hearing things in my ear here. When you don't know what to charge, that is definitely the best solution. Just what is your budget? Hold on, I got a new keyboard because the other one I got from, I got a kind of a slight little EVG3. They kind of hooked me up with some gear, and I had their keyboard, their mechanical keyboard, which I love, but on the desk when I'm interviewing with the mouse and the keyboard and they're not wireless, like it drives me nuts. I'm a Mac guy with that I'm bleeding kind of into PC a little bit because of Twitch, and I have like this guy right here. Do you know anything about the XMG laptops?
I've heard about it. I've never tried it.
Okay. All right. They're actually really, really good. It's as far as DJing is concerned. If you're only buying a computer for DJing, it is one of the best. I gotta admit. But I'm also a Mac guy though, so everything in my home is Mac. And once you start using Mac and you start getting into the ecosystem, wires aren't a thing.
Yeah.
So the moment that they started sending me all this stuff, everything had wires. I'm just like, I am not used to all these wires being everywhere, So I had to buy this over the weekend, just little cheap wireless keyboard, just so I could kind of run this stuff because it was just too much, too many cords, too many.
Man,
can't do it.
You're fully teched up over there.
You know what? Here's the thing. It's overtime. People see it now. They're like, oh, yeah, I am teched up, but this is like a year in the making with quarantine. When I first started doing any type of live streaming, it did not look like this, like at all. It's like, as a matter of fact, I did the green screen thing, kind of like you, but your green screen is clean. My green screen, I had the green halo around me, and I was trying to do everything I could to kind of like, I had this thing in my mind that for whatever reason, people were not going to like, they were going to get bored of the same old background over and over again every single day. So I had the green screen to kind of change it up. And then I make this joke. Everybody in the chat knows. I had TLM on. And TLM came on, and his camera, and he was only using like a Canon M50. It wasn't like some amazing camera, but he had the shadows and the lighting and the nice key light and the soft fill, and he had the hat on. He had a little like mysterious shadowing, but just enough, not too much. And I'm looking at myself, and Mojax is on. He's in the chat, like, wow, look at the difference of this thing. And I was like, I'm done.
Time to step your game
I can't
up.
have this. Yeah, so I had to step my game up. Now, as I need to get in the middle here, but now with my lens and with everything, it's like I know that I can't be touched. I know that
man,
now. Like,
that's crispy. That's super crispy. Look at mine, man. I look like I'm filming on a Nokia 3210.
No. Yours looks good. But so it's funny because we have one, and then we have 16. So let's bring up 16. So we can show. Yeah, man, it's okay.
These vintage videos of mine.
At least we're not showing the whole thing. So all right, let's bring you on here. Okay. And now you got the little Reloop sponsorship on the bottom, like you know. I see. Now the trick is going to be the camera. Let's see.
Hey guys, it's DJ
All
Angelo,
right.
and welcome to Turntable Tutorial
Front
16.
and center, we have some beginnings.
We're still exploring beat juggling, and today I'm going to teach you what I consider to be some quite advanced techniques. So concentrate hard and make sure that you've worked through the previous 4 tutorials if you haven't done already, because the techniques I'm going to show you today will be building on the previous techniques.
It does look like your camera's a little on tilt there.
Yeah.
We're
But
all
it was
there.
HD by then, 720p by then, and widescreen. We got up in
There
the
you
world.
go. There you go. You know, it's funny because, and we'll keep showing it, but I mean, I run into the same thing. You shoot a video, and after you're done, you look, you're like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. But
Yeah.
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Man.
Shoot the whole thing over again? You know what I mean? So you're just like, I'm
Those
just gonna have to deal with
intros, those little intros took me like 50 takes every time. I hated doing that part. I'm terrible at just talking to camera. Still am to
And
this day.
you don't do jump cuts. I jump cut. That was the
Back
only way.
then,
Or I would never be able to.
I don't think jump cuts had been invented back then. Like I didn't even know about jump cuts. I don't really know much about terminology like that. But yeah, I just thought I need something at the start and something at the end, and then the tutorial in the middle. That's it.
And by the way, and all these records are they legitimate records, or did you go to the dollar store and buy a whole bunch of empty cases?
No, that's mine. That's my collection. I still have all of my vinyl.
Do you
A lot
really?
of it is in my mother's garage, but yeah, I still have all the records I ever bought that got me into crazy debt back in the day when I was trying to build my collection. But yeah, I still have them. I don't play them that much, but I still have them.
DJ Flash B says his skin is flawless.
Big up to my man in Jordan, Flash B. Well, you know, maybe there's a skincare tutorial coming up soon. Who knows?
Hey, skincare tutorials are where the money is. That's just facts.
Tell me about it, man. We're in the wrong game.
Oh, I keep saying that. You know, you have no idea. We'll go back to the video. You have no idea how much I say this because, look, first off, you have an exceptional amount of followers, but as you said, you know, you made the main page, and then you know your videos are the ones that pop up. So it's understandable that if you have a tutorial system and you have 1 through 16, that people are going to naturally say, well, clearly I need to subscribe to him because I need to keep following the video. So it makes sense.
There you go.
Perfect
There you
marketing.
go.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but and even my channel has grown tremendously, especially over quarantine. But it's never going to get to the level of like some of these photography channels. You know, the skincare
Never say
channels.
never. Never say never, Cleveland. You can get there. How old is your channel now?
My channel's 3 years old. 3 years
Exactly. Come on, man.
Yeah.
2008. Bro, that's 13 years I've been going. I haven't been going hard, but you know I've been around for 13 years on that. But
Right.
you'll get there, man. Like you're doing good stuff, and
It's
it is
slow and
harder
steady.
now. I will say it's harder now because there's so many more channels.
Right.
You're competing with more now, so you know it is hard. But quality cream rises to the top, and you know,
100%. I agree. I agree.
You will get there.
Like, and it's never been a thing where I never started this channel to be the next. You know, I always say like Peter McKinnon. Peter McKinnon is like the white elephant because you know Peter McKinnon. He's the camera guy. Yeah. So for people that don't know him, he gained, and I see Caper Official in the house. What's going on, girl? Good to see you.
Yo.
He came in. He gained 1 million followers in a year.
Right.
In a year, he had 1 million followers. That is something that just never happens. But
Yeah, it can happen to anyone though.
Yeah, his quality is absolutely like he deserved every single subscriber he got. I was one of them. Like I can't get over what this dude is doing. This dude is amazing. Like everything about him is just amazing. So you can't have that niche. And you know, I did those the Instagram / Twitch streaming videos that blew up. I mean, they have like your video. I think your first video has 450,000 views, something ridiculous. But that's over, again, as you were saying, that's over like 10, 12 years. But you have what I would call like good residuals, because it's something that people always want to learn. So it always has a place, no matter the quality.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people are pretty forgiving about the quality, because the material, the teaching material, it still works. It's still good today, and that's why I've never redone them, because people have asked if I'm going to reshoot these tutorials. But honestly, man, I put so much thought into those. Like, they were no accident. I really planned those tutorials to be the most effective I could make them.
I'm hearing some static. I think it might be coming from you. Does anybody else hear static? Let me know in the chat.
I'm good.
There is static.
Oh, damn.
All right, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna do a quick mute of you, and let's just see what's going on. Oh, it's gone now. It's gone. That was weird.
Are we good?
Okay, we're good. It came in and then it disappeared. All right, please continue.
What was I saying?
They asked you to potentially.
So I think people often think that it's the quality, it's the camera, it's the lighting, it's all these cosmetic things that make videos be popular or viral or whatever. But it's always about what the video does to the viewer. What does it do for the viewer? The value that it brings the viewer. And if you have value and quality visuals, then you're winning, basically. And that's what's happened to Peter McKinnon, for example. He's a camera guy. He's a photography guy anyway, so his videos will always look amazing. But he's also like really personable on camera, and relatable, and that helps a lot.
Relatable. He's a good-looking guy. Like, everything about him, he had the trifecta.
And natural on camera. Because there's a lot of YouTubers who are like, "Hey guys, hey," they're not being themselves, and that does not work with me. Like, I know when there's authenticity. That's why I'm drawn to your channel, because I think you're being yourself. You're not trying to be anything else, and that's how I've always been. And and we have to accept the fact that as DJs, our content isn't for everyone. Right. It's never going to be as popular as maybe makeup tutorials or dancing videos on TikTok or stuff like that. So we have to just accept the fact that we are niche, and just do that niche the best we can, and we'll find our audience.
And I think it's what I have learned over the past couple of years, especially this year in particular, is that you have to leverage what you do, and I think you're a perfect example. You have these these videos that, like, I'm sure bring in some decent residual income, but everybody knows you're not creating a living off of YouTube. The YouTube is a foundation for everything else you do in life. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have my YouTube that draws people in. So now when you start talking to them about other business opportunities, you have that as leverage in order to move to these new places. So, but it's like, no matter what, the numbers are never going to be. I mean, unless you are like a Peter McKinnon who can do, you throw a video up and you get 1 million views for that video, within 2 days. Like, that's, you can live off of that stuff, but that's not real life. I mean, maybe it's for you. I mean, you got a lot of videos that are doing big numbers.
I definitely don't live off my YouTube residuals. It's an extra stream. It's definitely a nice extra stream to have, but I also have never fully invested as a YouTuber. I'm not trying to live off my YouTube either. It's a place for me to put my work, and almost like an online CV. Yes, because we don't really have CVs as DJs, and I've always loved YouTube. I've always seen the value in YouTube because it's just there forever, and you do the work once, and that video keeps working for you forever. Which is why I don't really sway towards the live streaming, which is a whole nother topic. Oh. I'm more about make this dope ass video once, put it out, and then just sit back, let it work while I get the next one ready. And that's there's only one of me, and there's only so much time I have, so I have to make choices on how to invest my time the best way I can. And,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny as I listen to you, when you start to think about videos that can stand the test of time, a lot of videos can't. Like, I make videos, I do gear reviews and then like my vlogs, but like none of that stuff in my mind, I feel like people will just go, oh, let me go take a look at this. Like, it's not like you're searching for, let's say I made a tractor review, right? 3 years ago. Nobody's looking for tractor videos of whatever I reviewed from 3 to 5 years ago now. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's like, so you have to, if you can make stuff that like stands the test of time, that's the best thing. Not that I can make scratch tutorials, but still, different story altogether. But hey, that's not a bad idea. Now, speaking of scratch tutorials, speaking of scratching, obviously you started these videos, and clearly you could scratch when you made the videos. But where did you learn how to scratch? When did you start actually DJing? When did that become part of your life?
Right. I started DJing in 1996 with a very humble setup. And when I say humble, I mean I built my first turntables with parts. And
that's insane.
Yeah. And this is what makes me laugh when I get contacted by new DJs asking me what setup they should buy. And I'm like, man, whatever you can get your hands on and make that work.
Literally whatever you can get your hands on.
And it just so happens that I have one of these to show you.
I gotta see this.
This, my friends, was my first turntable. All right, so this is a Sound Lab something. RT12D. Okay, it's not 12-inch. It's only a 10-inch platter. It's belt driven. That's the pitch control right there. Really, really small.
Like a rotary dial.
Right? And here's the thing. I took this out of the box, and this was on the other side.
Oh my God.
So what I had bought, thinking they were turntables, was just a replacement part for a coffin set, a dual coffin.
You bought a motherboard.
Yeah, exactly, man. I bought these thinking, yeah, I've got 2 turntables for $50. I'm ready to go, and this is what was inside. So, me being someone who's not one to give up easily, I took my brother's soldering iron and I soldered a mains cable and RCA cable to those. Got myself a $50 or £50 Radio Shack secondhand mixer, and that was my first setup. And that's what I started with. Super like wobbly platter, terrible torque, terrible needles. Everything was terrible. Like I had nothing that worked well. No good speakers at home, but I made that work, and I got off the ground. And to be honest, I wanted to know if DJing was for me. At that stage, I didn't even know if I would like it, but I knew I wanted to try it, and that was a cheap way to try it. And I knew my parents wouldn't support it or pay for anything, so I knew it was just down to me to make this work and to try it for myself. Because I used to like fantasize about buying turntables. I used to read the back of DJ Mag and look at all the Vestax turntables and be like, wow, man, one day I'm gonna get a pair of these. But I didn't. I was a kid. I was a school kid, so I didn't have that kind of money. But that's how I started, and that's when I realized, yeah, I can do this. I learned how to beat match like almost instantly. I had a natural ear for rhythm, and instantly I knew that I wasn't satisfied with just playing records, just beat matching. I knew straight away I want to touch these records. I want to do something with these records. And then I bought my first World DMC VHS tape, and it was the 95 World Final. And I bought that tape thinking this must be a competition for electronic music DJs, competing against each other. I had no idea about turntablism. I had no idea that there was competitions for this stuff. I knew what scratching was. I used to hear scratching on like, DJ Premier tracks,
Right.
and in the hooks of classic hip hop songs, but I didn't know there was competitions on turntablism. So I put that in the VCR, and I was just blown away at what was being done on just 2 turntables, a mixer and vinyl. I couldn't believe what was being done, and that's when I made the connection that I want to do more with these records. I can't just sit there and play these songs and wait for them to end so I can start the next one and blend over. It just wasn't enough for me. I wanted to get busy. I wanted to talk with the music more. I wanted to have a closer relationship and shape how it sounded with my hands. I found that really empowering. So from then, I kind of switched from playing trance. Believe it or not, I started with trance.
Trance.
Dude, man. I mean, I'm from England, so
Hip hop wasn't big back then too.
Well, hip hop was, it was. I also didn't grow up in London or any major city, so I was just exposed to what I could get hold of, and my only knowledge of DJs back then was electronic DJs. I used to buy cassette packs from major clubs like Cream and Miss Moneypenny's and Gatecrasher, all the big clubs in the UK at that time, and they were all just dance music DJs. So I just didn't even cross my mind that you could DJ hip hop too. Like, it just didn't cross my mind. I thought, if I want to DJ, I have to play dance music. Right. Like, that's how sheltered I was. But then, it's weird that the DMC video was kind of what got me onto hip hop and turntablism. Even though I knew what hip hop was, I never assumed that you could DJ hip hop. I don't know why. It's a weird thing. But
considering that, like, almost like the roots of turntablism it's hip hop.
Right.
So it's interesting.
It sounds strange to you being from the States, but
yes, we
grow up a lot differently in the UK. We don't know about the Bronx and Grandmaster Flash and Kool Herc. Like, I wasn't into that. Big up Caper. I was just, we had like rave culture and drum and bass and happy hardcore and stuff, but hip hop never really entered my spectrum.
Strange that I can't find any videos on those. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look a little harder.
Oh man, no. A lot of years of learning this craft went on before you guys even saw me on YouTube.
Sure.
There's a lot that happened with me. But yeah, that was it really. It was the DMCs that made me see what was possible. But I was always still like interested in playing music and mixing music for people to enjoy and making mixtapes for my friends and stuff like that.
Caper says she has something to send me, by the way, just to FYI.
Nice. I did a mix for Caper's show a long time ago on BBC Asian Network. I don't know if you remember Caper, but yeah, a long time ago. But yeah, it's a small world. We all know each other.
Of course. Yeah. So
I taught myself. The short story is I taught myself. I watched DMC videos and I just kind of like try to create the patterns that I wanted to create, what my head was hearing over the beats, and I taught myself. And that's I'm a big ambassador for tutorials and DJ schools and stuff like that, but there's nothing more valuable than finding a way to teach yourself, because when you teach yourself, it's like so solid and it's so embedded, and it gives you so much confidence when you work things out for yourself. But of course, it's not possible.
Taught yourself. Yeah, because I was gonna say you taught yourself. I mean, with proper technique. Most people that kind of teach themselves, they have their way, and it works amazingly. But then when they try to like pass the knowledge on, maybe your hand movements are a little off. Maybe you're doing things that are just a little different than like the average person. Your technique is real, like how you learned and taught yourself like the most correct way possible, and that a lot of people can't do that.
That may be because of how I started with the worst turntables known to man, and a Radio Shack mixer that didn't have a crossfader that was sharp. Like I would have to use the switches, or I would just only be able to do like big fader movements. So I kind of learned. I got better as technology progressed, but because I had really bad gear, it's like resistance, isn't it? You're having to be better than your gear, and this is why it's not about the gear. Everyone talks about the focus is so much on gear these days, on technology, and there's not enough focus on the art of DJing. This is something I'm trying to get across to people. Like, we love technology. There's some amazing like innovations coming out, but let's not lose the art and the creativity and getting around problems and not relying on things and not having the best of things, because really that's having setbacks and restrictions and not having the best of gear to work with sometimes is what unlocks the ideas.
Well, and it's funny you'd say that, because I agree. So I have look, just like you, I mean, we all have the opportunity to, like, not we all, but in our industry, we have the opportunity to test gear, and people will send you gear that, like, maybe is not attainable for a lot of people out there. So you get into a habit of like working with the best equipment, and you forget that, like, okay, wait a minute. So I personally own, I have a DJ company, so I own a whole bunch of like Pioneer S9s and Rain 62s, and the last mixer I personally purchased was after NAMM 2020. We ran into each other there. I bought the Rain 70, and but then it came in. I was using that for streaming for the longest time, and then I started developing my Pioneer relationships. So then they started sending me gear, and am I hearing Superman? It sounds like I'm hearing Superman.
Not from my end.
So I was using this S11, and I still have the S11. The S11 is actually sitting under here. But during the course of quarantine, I reviewed the Reloop Elite, the S11, the S7. But at a certain point, I got new faders. InnoFader sent me new faders for my Rain 70. So I put those in, and I remember using them, and I remember for a moment going, oh yeah, when it's just just a mixer, like no screens, it has bells and whistles, but like you're back to, no real BPMs on the screen. Like, oh, I'm just DJing. And there is something that is like extremely refreshing about just kind of focusing on the DJing part and not, oh, I have these capabilities. I need to use all these capabilities of this mixer, even if it doesn't make sense to what I'm mixing, but I have it, so I got to use it. So I appreciate that. Just like when the S7 came out, people were like, oh, the S11. I'm like, you know what? The S7 is for people that just want to like DJ. And I've seen big time DJs like have the Rain 72 and then go back and use the Rain 70 as like their go-to everyday mixer, because they just want to DJ. They don't want to think about anything else. Oh, I got to go through 4 pages of stuff to get to what I need to. Like, no, everything's right here, and I like using that. So I appreciate that. But there is some joy in having super equipment too. And I know you use the Elite. Yeah, and I reviewed the Elite.
I use a lot of stuff, man. But the Elite is, I guess I was a bit of a face for the Elite as one of the people who contributed to its development. And I use other mixers as well. I'm not tied specifically to. I'm not being forced to use anything. Put it that way. But I use the Elite a lot out of courtesy of Reloop being one of my partners, one of my clients, I guess. But I just think I love innovation as well. I'm not saying we shouldn't innovate. I love technology, and I love the possibilities that are being opened up with new DJ technology. But my thing is always about being, showing your art with whatever gear that is, and not relying on technology. And this is what I would love to see more of, basically. Like I love like you can have screens on mixes now and things like that, But I also think that at times DJ manufacturers they're kind of pressed to add new features in order to release new products.
Exactly.
In order to make more money. And the cycle of how fast gear is changing and replaced is getting shorter and shorter, it seems, right? People are changing gear way more often than they used to.
It's the Apple rules, and I love Apple. I love the way they do things, but they know what they're doing. They know that when they make a new MacBook and they take out and they take away a port, and everybody complains, and then 2 generations later, all of a sudden it's like, and we brought the port back. Like, you should have never taken the port away. So this is what they're doing.
Well, that's a real thing. Planned obsolescence. There you go. It's a real thing. But I'm trying, like, as someone who works with brands developing gear, I'm trying not to just push for fancy things that are of no real world use just to have. I'm all about practical stuff that working DJs want to use.
Gotcha. So I'm going to bring back the video, because we're going to show just a little bit more of the amazingness that is Angelo. So hold on, let's
already, because the techniques I'm going to show you today will be building on the previous techniques in my last 4 beat juggling tutorials. Alright guys, I hope you're ready for this. Let's get started. Chasing, otherwise known as
got a new
strobing,
camera?
is an intricate beat juggling technique whereby you break down a beat and double up the sounds as the beat plays. There's various ways that it can be done, but today I'm going to demonstrate some common examples. To execute a 1-beat chase, we're going to tap pause our record.
And full disclosure, every time like I watched one of your videos, I would always go to the end, because that's when you show off, and that's when you put it. I don't think it's possible for any DJ of any talent to like stay within the confines of the tutoring, because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he's doing this. I don't know how to do that. But I love it. But
you have to show what's possible, right? And I saved that to the end because I don't want to alienate anyone. But of course, man, I always try to end all the tutorials with some demo, also to prove that I have the goods.
Right.
I'm teaching from experience.
And you taught on a mixer that is an everyday mixer, like it's just a standard mixer, doesn't have many bells and whistles, and I appreciate that, because
that's all they had at the time. That's what really had back then. That's what I was working with.
So you were working with the Technique mixer before, and which was actually, you're one of the first people that I saw with that mixer. And it always threw me off a little bit, because I'm just like, I didn't even know. This was back before. I'm like, I didn't know they even made mixers, and obviously they do. But
I still have it.
You still have it. I was gonna say that's your personal mixer. So when you moved over to Reloop, did you feel like it was, because they were in the kind of the beginnings, so to speak, as far as equipment?
For sure.
Was it on par? Was it less? Were you like, okay, I have to kind of work around a little more?
Got to be careful
nicely,
what
anyway.
I say here.
I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, back when was it? 2009 was when I first got introduced to them. In the UK, we have an expo called BPM, or at least we did until a few years ago. So this was like our NAM in the UK, a lot smaller, just for DJs and producers. And Reloop in 2009 were exhibiting in the UK for the first time, and my name got thrown into the mix as someone who could perform on their booth, thanks to YouTube, which is another. Of course. That's what I'm saying. Like YouTube was kind of like putting my name out there. So my name got thrown in the mix. I got asked if I wanted to perform on their booth, so I said yeah, because the previous 2 years I was going to BPM as a punter. I was one of those geeks, looking at the gear, dreaming of playing on a booth one day. But then I got the opportunity to play on a booth, so I took that with both hands, and just built a relationship with them, and we're still family now. But back then, of course, let's just say they've got better. They've got better. Their stuff's got better. Partly, I don't want to take all the credit, but some of it does and doesn't have anything to do with me, because I'm not like 100% influential to what they do, but I give my input where I can. But yeah, they listen. They started to listen to DJs a lot more, and our roster based crew, we have more really like dope DJs joining our roster, giving input as well. But yeah, they got better, and I think everyone's got better. Everyone's games got better.
Agreed. The baseline for all equipment across the board, like almost no matter what you get, you're going to get something of quality, and that's something that you couldn't say before. But now it's like, if you're buying a flagship mixer, because people, I don't know if they do this to you, but it's always like, which one should I buy? What do you recommend? If you could have any mixer in the world, what would it be? And it's like, look, guys, I'm honestly going to tell you this, and people, I don't know if they believe me. There is not a bad mixer in the flagship lineup anywhere. Every single mixer, if you have to use that mixer, you're going to be just fine.
Exactly.
And you're not gonna, so it's like we're in a really good position as DJs to be able to take whatever it is. I did a review on the Elite, which I liked. I thought it was a good mixer. What my issues with the Elite was a couple of issues. First off, I didn't really love the button placement of the hot pads being below. Not that it was a big deal, but they felt really close to the faders. So
I felt like the mode buttons.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I didn't love it, but I still got used to it. The thing that probably bothered me the most was visually anything above the pads. Everything was so symmetrical, or is so symmetrical, that it almost takes you out of where things are. Most of the time, so it's harder to find things. That's probably my biggest.
And I mean, there's no perfect mixer out there, and I'm not going to pretend and say the Elite is a perfect mixer. It's not, and there were a lot of people's input that went into that. A lot of things I wanted didn't make the cut. I wanted paddles. Chris Carnes wanted buttons. It's one of those things. Like, everybody wanted a different thing. But I will stand by the mode buttons being below the pads. Because now that I've tried the S11, I like having the mode buttons under the pads, so I can see the pads change without my hand covering the pads when I'm changing modes. It's just, gotcha. And also when you're doing like line fader techniques, hitting a pad mode is a lot less risky than hitting a pad. So that was my mentality.
I get that, and that's the joy of all the mixers, because one person might look at it and go, no, this makes perfect sense for me, and other one's like, it just doesn't work for me. But totally. It doesn't take away the fact of what the mixer is. The fader. I know somebody said fader bleed in a question mark there. I experienced fader bleed right out of the box, but once I changed the settings, I didn't get any more fader bleed. But I do believe that if people are getting any type of fader bleed, I don't believe it's the mixer. I think it might be the innofader. The innofader has the technology in the innofader, which is great. On occasion, will give a little bit of bleed. Like, it won't turn off when it's supposed to, because it's all electronic, But
exactly,
but the quality of
this
the
is
cuts
the game
are
we're
amazing.
in. This is why I can't advise people on what to buy, because it depends how you DJ. It depends what you're going to do, how you're going to use it. To me, like I was just saying, having the mode buttons there works for my workflow. May not be for yours, and this is why I don't like to get into that conversation. A lot of people assume that just because I had a hand in that mixer that I'm forcing that on people. I'm not. Buy what you think is going to work for you, and better still, try them out. Like, go to a store. Well, we can't now, but see if you can try them out somewhere before you buy. I'm not the buying guide for the world. I'm not going to be that. You've got to make your own mind up.
I got hit a little bit because I had said, and now it makes sense because when you brought up the Chris Carnes and the paddle, because I'm just like, I don't know. It feels like it's trying to be everything, and I can't get a real good vibe from it. And I said, I'm not sure it was meant for turntablists. And then people were like, no, Angelo built that mixer. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. But for me, I don't know that I feel that exactly. It feels like, because I'm thinking it's a.
I didn't technically build anything, but I did want paddles, and they really knows that. And at the time, like that mixer we started work on that a long time ago, and
of course,
development
takes forever.
Yeah, it takes a long time anyway, but we had added delays for whatever reason, Serato integration, factories, and stuff like that. And at the time, the S9 was the only mixer out with paddles. And Reloop as a company made the decision to not go with the paddles because they didn't think, they weren't sure if paddles were here to stay, to put it short. But
they're here to stay.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
But no, I can still rock an Elite comfortably, no problem.
Of course.
And,
of course.
And anyone can if you learn how to use the gear,
Well, there's and I think that's one of the things. People are so quick to see a new mixer, see something else, and want to jump to it. And I always ask people, did you even learn the thing you're on? Like, do you know all the bells and whistles that this one thing does? Because if you don't, don't just jump.
How many DJs are using all the features of these products? Really?
In the chat. Answer in the chat. How many DJs are using all? No, honestly, because I think it's a fair question. So I don't know if you were watching or if you watched Fool's Gold. What's the competition?
Goldie Awards.
The Goldie Awards. Yes. So they had the Goldie Awards online this year, and everybody was using turntables and S11s and all these things, which was great. But Dynamix, local DJ out of California, he was using the DDJ 1000.
I know, man. I love it.
and he killed it. And it's like
he did.
He knows the hardware. That way he can get away with doing a lot of things that maybe you couldn't necessarily do on a controller because he knows the hardware. Like, learn your shit.
There's some things that you can definitely have an advantage on controllers for, but I've tried playing on one of those, and honestly, man, people don't realize how difficult his set was to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm upset that he didn't get the props he deserved for that. I mean, he was in the final, of course, but that was an amazing performance. I've never seen anyone be that technical on a controller.
Yeah.
Because it's goddamn hard.
especially that one. Yeah, Dynamics he's the real deal. And if anybody gets a chance to watch a Dynamic set, because he's been on Serato's, he just kills it every time. Like, every time. Spin Junkie says, I smash on my 1000. I believe you. And even to this day, there's things that, like, I will find on a controller or a piece of hardware, and I'm like, I didn't know it did this. This is amazing. And it completely changes the way you DJ on that controller. And this is actually a good segue. Now, all of your tutorials and things, and I'm gonna ask you the question in a minute, but we're not gonna go there yet. All the tutorials are on turntables. You don't do a lot of controller-esque videos. I know you did the Reloop Buddy, which I'm still trying to get a hold of, by the way. I can't find anybody in Reloop that will take care of me. So if you have a contact, let me know.
Yeah, we'll make that happen.
Yeah. But you don't typically do controller-style videos.
I don't typically, no, but I can. And if I get an opportunity that I think I can work with, then sure. And I was definitely intrigued by the Reloop Buddy with the Neuromix controls, because I think that is an innovation that I can get with. Being able to isolate stems live is ridiculous to me. That is like game changing in so many ways. If we have that power every single time we DJ, that makes so many things possible. And every so often we get an innovation that changes the game, and I think that's one of them. I think Phase is one of them. I think Serato was one of them.
Of course.
So I think Neuromix is a big deal, and I'm sure it's only going to get better, that technology.
If this is the starting point for neural mix, because I've said it. People are like, "Oh no, everybody needs to have this." I'm like, yes, we do need to have a stems type thing in all of the DJ stuff. However, not all stems are created equally. So people are getting out there and they're like, "Okay, let me just take vocals only," and it's like, well, those vocals sound like trash. But it's not the neural mix's fault.
No,
it's
and I think
compression.
people have to understand it's not. By nature, it's never going to be perfect. You're trying to lift things out of a mastered track. Yeah. And
with software.
Some people, with software in real time, man. The processor is just like receiving that track and spitting out what it thinks it should spit out. Yeah. And I think people have to understand it will never be perfect, but it can be usable. Mm-hmm. And maybe the AI involved will get better, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know how good it can get, because mastered tracks are like just all, so many things are sandwiched together. It's hard to just filter out the right thing. How does it know? How does it know what a vocal is? Exactly. Or a trumpet,
It's the instrument ones that always get me. Like, how do you know that that's an instrument? That doesn't make it all I'm hearing is cymbals and like a keyboard. That doesn't even make any sense.
I don't know how it works.
It's impressive.
I really don't. Yeah. But I had fun. I had fun making that mix because I got an opportunity to try some things that wouldn't be possible on any other gear. And that's what I'm really into. Like, a lot of people want to see the same thing again and again. And a lot of people want to see me do another funky turntablism and whatever and do more stuff on turntables. But I'm just like, I'm excited by new things, like by being able to DJ in new ways. That excites me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting though, because people want to blame the neural mix when they do try to pull it out and they're like, it sounds like crap. If you want to blame anybody, blame this generation's engineers over compressing everything. Everything is just one big ass file. Because if you pull any stereophonic, any old school track and you throw neural mix on, it's damn near perfect. Because the separation was there. There's no separation in any of the new music. So what are you expecting? You should be happy it works at all.
Yeah, and you could say the same for EQ. Like, EQ won't always work well on every track. It's just taking a band. It might not be the band you want out of the track.
Yeah.
So it has to be used. It has to be used tastefully and sparingly, and for the right tracks in the right places.
So I'm going to ask the question that the entire world wants, and every time I do this, I got to ask the question. You are clearly a turntablist. That's what you've taught.
I know what you're going to ask me. I know what you're going to ask me.
I have to. People. The world wants to know. What is your feeling on? Two questions. First, what is your feeling on? I know you don't have a problem with controller because you just said you'd want to do it, but what is your feeling on people learning on controllers versus learning on turntables, and do you think that it's necessary?
Okay, it's not the question I thought you were going to ask, but anyway.
There might be a secondary question.
My feeling on people who learn on controllers. So here's the thing, right? I started with turntables because that was accessible to me in '96 when I started. There wasn't any other option. CD players were just coming in. So I started with what was accessible. People starting now have way more options. And if I was starting now, I would be hard pushed to find a reason to start with turntables. That's me being honest, because controllers are current. They're current for now. That's the standard for a lot of people now in 2021. So I totally get it that would be a lot of people's first choice. And the prices of controllers are coming down fast nowadays, right? It's a very it's an easy way to get going. The barrier to entry is way lower when you buy a controller. You can be up and running. You don't need a vinyl collection. You don't need to buy needles, slip mats, separate mixer, all these bits and pieces that we had to accumulate. So I get it, man. I totally get it. I have no problem with controllers. I have no problem with technology influencing DJing, but like I said before, I have a problem with the art form being forgotten because of technology. Like, you can be artistic and creative and dope on a controller, on an iPad, anything. You can still show your art and perform creatively with anything. It's not about the gear. I think a lot of people, like the purists, they get confused with this. Like, they think the art form is dying because no one plays with turntables. That's not it. Turntables was how it started, but who are they to say that that's where DJing has to end? Like, why would DJing end with turntables? Like, people, instruments have evolved over the years.
All right, hold on, Angelo. Stop what you're saying right now for a minute, because I'm getting a little bit of an echo again. So let me just hold on. Don't go anywhere. Let's just take you off for a second. Okay, now you're better. You're better again.
Are we back?
Every so often, all of a sudden, you can legitimately hear just like the static building, and all of a sudden it's like you're a robot. So, but now you're good again.
I'm good. So what I'm saying might seem a little controversial to the purists out there, and I'm allowed to speak on this as someone who started with turntables and vinyl, and still chooses to play with turntables, and still loves vinyl. But that isn't people's reality now when they start DJing. So, it's like if you were gonna start to learn to drive now, you wouldn't necessarily drive,
a manual transmission.
A car from the 60s with manual transmission. You might not, and we're happy for innovation in every other industry. We're happy to have smartphones. We're happy to have electric windows in cars. We're happy for M1 MacBooks and PS5s. So why would people assume DJing would stop with analog and turntables? Like, think about it. Why would it stop there? Yeah. DJing itself is an innovation. Like, it's like people used to just play songs, and then they realized we can play to an audience and mix between songs using something in the middle. DJing itself is an innovation. Turntablism is an innovation from DJing. Like, why would innovation stop? Like, it's ridiculous to me that we still have this conversation.
Because people will say, and I see this all the time. Anytime I do a review of a new mixer or something, it's always like, oh, the art of DJing is dead. People are just pushing buttons now. There's no more fun and enjoyment and artistry in it. Anybody can mix now. Anybody can hit the sync button, and everything just kind of does. So I don't know if it's sometimes people that paid their dues, and now the things that like they struggled with maybe for a long time is something that you can just do at the drop of a button. Or DVS has made it smart. You know what I mean? So I get that. To a point.
It's like people really busted their ass back in the day to get good at this craft, right? And spent money to build their collections. I did the same thing, but I do not want to go back to playing vinyl sets and touring the world with crates. Like, hell no, I'm not interested. And I give my props to anyone who still does that and who plays on 45s and all the DJs who still rock vinyl. I respect that so much. But me personally, I have no problem saying that I have zero interest in going back to playing vinyl. I've come from there. I love the conveniences that digital is providing me, and I can still play how I like with digital. That's the thing. The art is still there, and now I'm able to like do more with the music than I could with just vinyl. Because, you know, as much as I love vinyl and turntables, there is a limit to what you can do with vinyl. Like,
Yeah.
it's a fact. That's not me like dissing vinyl. There's a limit. You can't jump ahead of time other than lifting a needle.
You can't tell me cue points. That invention alone isn't the best thing that was ever given to DJs.
And, you know, people may argue that it was never meant to go that way. You were always meant to do it the hard way. But why? Why would we? Do you still want to wind a window down in your car by hand? Like
rotary phone. Hold
do you
on,
know what
let
I'm
me
saying?
call
like yeah, sync is such a controversial thing, and still even today. And I just think, man, like it's there. It's an electric window. You don't have to use it. You know, just buy a car with a manual window if you don't want that. You know. But my other argument with not playing vinyl anymore is that I disagree with people when they say that vinyl sounds better than digital. I'm being controversial by saying that because I disagree. Because
no, please
vinyl,
talk. I'm just going to put you on full screen so they don't see me in this picture.
All right, so here's my thing. Now, vinyl purists are going to hate me when I say this, but yeah, vinyl, of course, everyone loves vinyl, and a lot of people say that vinyl sounds warmer. And yes, I agree with that. It sounds warmer. And the reason it sounds warmer is because it has less frequencies in the high end. It's less crispy than a digital file, right?
Right.
But if you were to analyze a vinyl rip and a WAV of the same track, you'll see where the frequencies stop for vinyl. Like, I don't know, 16,000 hertz, 70,000. Whereas MP3s and WAVs go higher. So there's more frequency range in digital files than there is in vinyl. So that's my argument that vinyl doesn't necessarily sound better. If you prefer a duller sound with less crisp, then yeah, that might be your thing. But you can't say it sounds better. It just sounds less crispy.
I think when people say it sounds better, and the warmth is a huge factor in it, but they don't realize that it's distortion. You know, all that stuff you're hearing is just the distortion of pushing from the compressors, throwing it on wax, so that warmth is just distortion. And that's one of the things that people, when they moved to CDs, because CDs have a have a step frequency range because it's digital, it doesn't curve like analog does. You know, people will complain, oh, I can't hear this. I don't hear the extra distortion so I got to run it through another compressor just because it doesn't sound the same. So I think the high frequency part is really a big deal because it really does. You do. There's a huge fall off on vinyl. But you know, when was the last time you went to a club or you were playing out and people were just like, you know what? It just doesn't sound as crispy. Most people react to the bass and the warmth of the sound. The warmth is what wins people over. You know, I was testing the Bose ones, the new Bose L1s, and in my brain when I first plugged them in, and I was comparing them to my JBLs, I said, "Huh, the JBLs don't sound as the upper registry is not as good." And at first I was like, "Oh, it doesn't sound as good. The bass is heavier in this." But then as I played it across the board, and then I'm just sitting there listening, and I'm listening to this amazing line array, I'm going, okay, but everything else, it sounds balanced now. Everything else sounds amazing, and we didn't have balance before. You know, I think that's the key. It was one-sided, and so
yeah. The frequency ranges are more limited. You can't have as low a bass on vinyl because it just won't cut the wax as deep enough to play. So it is about preference as well. Like some people prefer the sound of vinyl. Some people think the crackles and the pops are part of the charm.
I hate the crackle. Hate the crackle.
But I'm not playing. I don't want to play crackles on huge speakers in a club and
right.
You know. So yeah, no disrespect to the vinyl guys. I have a ton of vinyl myself. I came from that. And I love vinyl. I love to hold it, and I still love to listen to it now and again. But for DJing, I don't want to go back. Yeah,
and I'm not sure that you can be an audiophile and because everybody's always like, that's the big thing. Oh, I can't play my vinyl. It doesn't sound as good on, X hardware. And I'm just like, well, but you're never really getting the pristine sound because analog is analog by default. But, it is what it is. I mean, to each their own. Speaking of vinyl, I want to bring something up real quick, if I can get to it. Because I know people really did love this about you.
Who is the number one DJ?
Not me.
Man, in that moment, I really meant those words. I was like, God damn it, I'm really not the number one DJ right now.
We've all been there, and I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect anything. And if you watch any battle, any real-time battle, you'll know everybody makes mistakes all the time. It's not so much the mistakes, but how you recover from them. But when you're doing a video, you can't make mistakes because for whatever reason, people are like fixated on perfection. You know what I mean? I think
everyone has their threshold to what they allow, in terms of perfection. And for me, I don't want to live with a video haunting me for the rest of my life that I could have made better. And I have done that in the past. I'm not saying my videos are perfect at all, but I try to make them good enough that I can live with, basically. Right. Because they're going to be there. I'm not planning to shut down my YouTube anytime soon. They're going to stay there. They're going to keep getting viewed. And, and like I said, if you're using your YouTube like a CV, you want to show your best work on there, right? You want to show your best, even if your best was after 100 takes, it's still you. Yeah. So I think with this is why I sway towards content than live streamings. With content, you can perfect, and it's like doing the Snyder cut, right? He made his perfect edit. He took his time. And he got it right before the people saw it, and that's the way I treat my content. It was his vision. He wanted to put that out, and that's what I do with my stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting that you would say that because I did a video once. It's like watch me mix 5 songs in like 5 minutes or something like that. Something silly. And there was a part of the song where the loop came in incorrectly, so it started to go off a little bit, started to deviate. So I adjusted for it, but I left it in. And then I put it in because I kind of wanted to see how people would react when it's not perfection. Because if you're at a nightclub, if you are, competing, there are going to be times when you just make a mistake and you recover and the entire world doesn't just stop and walk out the club. They go, that's live. It happens. Somebody bumps your table. It happens. So I left that in there just to kind of see what was going to happen. And sure enough, all the DJs came out like, oh, I like the idea, but, oh, you messed up here. You like I don't know when I messed up.
Practice more.
Yeah. all of these things and everything. And even my partner, Paris, and he was in the chat a minute ago, was like, I don't know that I would have put that video in. I just probably would have just like fixed it. I'm like, I didn't want to fix it. I could have. Yeah. I'm in a position where I can make a perfect
what I'm saying
anything.
About the threshold. It was good enough for you. And, but you have to bear in mind, everyone, including your viewers, has a threshold of what they consider is good enough. And I just, it's a personal thing. I try to not put anything out that's gonna get me attacked too much.
You're a smartly political, non-political YouTuber. I get that.
Well, the thing is, this is why I put the bloopers up, because that's proof that I'm human too, and I make plenty of mistakes. And what you see is in these finished products, it's a long process sometimes, a lot of mistakes, a lot of trial and error. I don't get it right first time. It happens occasionally. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I nail a routine first time, and it's incredible. Like the elite video that I did, when the elite got released, the elite setup. That one I nailed first take. And the video I did for Serato, the one in the Serato studio, I did first take. But I'm just saying, sometimes it's 50 takes, sometimes it's 100. And I would rather show my bloopers in one video than have an imperfect video that's watched over and over and picked apart.
Well, they're going to pick it apart no matter what. And that's facts.
Oh, yeah.
No
You
way
can't
around
please
that.
everyone.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not trying. I don't really care that much what people are saying about my work, because you've got to get into that space of doing stuff you think is good and you're happy with, and you're the one who's living with that stuff. It's your work. So I as much as I love my supporters, I'm not making this stuff purely for them. A lot of the videos I put out are things I want to see exist in the DJ space, and no one's doing it. No one's done it yet. I got to be that guy. So I'm trying to make stuff that makes me a fan of myself. If that sounds
fair enough.
That makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense. I actually did a video after the fact, breaking down why being perfect is kind of an unattainable goal. And you'll have moments where you just said, like, I did the elite and I nailed it. Great. We all have those moments. There's something really great about, especially if like you're freestyling and everything's just kind of flowing together. Every song you choose just kind of like is perfectly in key, and the drop-offs are perfect. You're just like, I'm just in a moment, and you're not going to be able to duplicate that moment. It's just there. But there are times when you're mixing, and then, maybe you look to the side, or maybe you're thinking about, somebody in the other room, and next thing you know, you're off. And I think, and so I kept that video, and I did the video afterwards saying, hey guys, there's no such thing as perfection. It's whatever you're good enough now is how good you are, and be comfortable and happy about where you are, because you're going to continue to get better. You're going to continue to improve, and it's not even going to be an issue anymore. So that's why I did that video, because I knew I was going to have another video right afterwards. And if you watch that Mix 5, it literally links to the next video of going, because it's like people need to understand. But I like kind of pushing buttons too. That's kind of
And I think content is so important now for all of us guys in the DJ space to put ourselves out there, especially right now, this exact moment when no one's gigging. But I think you just have to do the best you can at every stage of your career, and do stuff until you can do better, basically. Maybe you can see a progression in my level if you look back at my old videos. I hope you can. I hope I've got better in the 13 years I've been on YouTube. But what I'm saying is, just do what you can, and maybe don't push to do things you can't do well. Just do what you can do well until you're better at that thing you're trying to do, before you're ready to show it to the world. Perfect it to the point you're happy. But I always made a point to not show any kind of flaws or any kind of weakness as much as possible in my videos. I say that for my bloopers now, but I just try to. Well,
your bloopers are good though, because because I agree. I don't think I've ever seen anything where you've made mistakes. So being able to see that part of you, the other side of Angelo, where it's like, I am a human being and these things happen. He really humanized you, and I think it was important.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree, and I've wanted to show that, because I'm a big fan of authenticity. I said it to you earlier. I think what you do, your channel, the way you present is authentic. You're not one of those fake YouTubers who's really hungry for views and playing to camera. I think authenticity is something that a lot of people are lacking in, not just DJing, but in the entertainment world.
Agreed.
Because the entertainment industry is about being flashy and just flexing all the time. And I think that whole airbrushed, filtered, approach of content is getting tired. Like, I for one love to see rawness, behind the scenes, rough edges, character, realness. And I think that's what we as humans resonate with way better than anything perfect and polished. So I don't know, man. I just thought I think the DJ scene needs more of this realness. So let me go. Let me do it. Let me set an example and show my ugliness in these bloopers.
But speaking of perfection, you just mentioned perfection. We'll take a look at that real quick.
One take. First take.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the eighth wonder of the world. Turn my music high, 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 high. Turn my music high, 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 high. Turn my music high. Check out the technique. Music banging like woo! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. 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 Back. Turn up your shoulder. Woo! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Turn my music high, high. Music, please.
Okay. By the way, who shot the video? Was it Serato or was it Reloop? It feels like
it was
Serato.
it was us. It was Reloop. My boy from my hometown flew out to Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely amazing, and I think like that video. A lot of times you'll watch videos and they'll show an amazing DJ. A new product comes out and it's like, oh wow, he's an amazing scratch DJ. Like they're, maybe they're doing it on like some BS mixer or hardware or whatever. You're just like, but you're not showing any of the features. And I think you did a really good job. Yeah, you showed the features of what he could do.
Thank you, man. That's what that's my job, And whenever I have a product to demonstrate, that's always my goal. Like, how can I? It's not about me. Like when it's a product video, it's not about me. But if I do this right, I can make the product shine and myself shine. And that's how I've always approached product demo videos. So everyone wins. And so far I've managed, and some routines come easy. Some routines take, a lot of beating my head against the wall. You never know, man. It's sometimes, I really, really have to struggle. I've just made a new one, actually. I think it's going to be out next week. On a new product. Oh, good. Coming soon from Reloop. So keep an eye out for that. Something different. Yeah, I think you guys will dig it.
I'm waiting on hardware so I can review it too. That's all. So so whatever your contact is, let me know so I can.
All right,
we'll make that happen. Because I literally have now relationships with everybody except for Reloop. The American distribution, at least the one contact, I just can't seem to get a solid grip on him. He's just So maybe hey, I know that sometimes my videos people look and they're like, yeah, he's a little too honest. I don't know that but I believe honesty sells your product far more than any just amazing DJ, showing their skill sets on your product. Me being able to say, this is why I like it. This is what I don't like about it. Maybe it's fine for you, but it doesn't work for me. I think that sells products more. So, but I know both.
You need both for sure.
Agreed.
You need to see what's possible on a product, and then you need to hear a hands-on review.
Yeah, because I spend time with them. People are always like, well, when are you going to do this review? And it's just like, when it's ready. Well, I don't. You've had it for. I'm not comfortable enough to make a video yet. I need to be so I can. When I say something, I know that it's accurate. First off, because you don't do a lot of video reviews. There's nothing worse than saying something and then finding out that you misrepresented a little bit. Because no matter where you put guys, I recognize this was a screw up, and you put it in the description, and you put it in the comments, you put it, you get that's the post you get all the time. This is not true. I'm like, I know, I already said it wasn't true. So I try to make it a point to really, really learn a product before I review it.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. You're doing it right.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they got out there. One person asked a very good question, and they asked, why have you never done Red Bull, DMC, or any of that stuff?
There it is. That's the question I was expecting. Oh man. Okay. Why? Okay. So battling. Let's talk battling.
Yes.
I have battled. I have won battles. I have lost battles. But battling for me, it was always just let me do this to say I've done it. I've reached a point where I was no longer interested in being measured up against somebody else, and that's kind of it, really. I have no interest in being judged or compared to another DJ, because I'm not trying to be like any other DJ, and it's. Of course, that's going to happen. When people watch my videos and say, yeah, but you can't scratch like Cuba. Yeah, but, Scratch Bastard's better, or Jazzy Jeff's better. I see comments like that, and I think it's a shame we have that mentality where we're comparing apples and oranges. It's okay for me to be an apple and you be an orange, and like that. You go to me if you want that. You go to Jazzy Jeff if you want that. You go to Cuba if you want that. It's okay for us all to be different and not be compared. I'm trying to be, by not battling, I'm trying to set the example of just standing on my own, and this is what DJ Angelo does and is, and it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I watch these battles and I think, I could do some damage. I could really do some damage in this. But honestly, it's not. My heart's just not in it. I'm not hungry enough to destroy DJs in battles like Crazy's, and Crazy's still hungry. Believe me. I was talking to him the other day.
Don't ever say anything bad about Crazy. Crazy will let you have it.
People like that should battle. I'm just not hungry to go up against other DJs and because I'm not hungry, I don't care if I win or lose, and that's not the right mindset to have when you go into a battle. I did battles for the experience, just to know how it felt, but I was never that great. I never felt good in battles. The nerves take over too much. I don't feel good doing competition.
Yeah,
because it feels like it's going against my nature, and I'm just trying to be the best I can be. As cheesy as that sounds, I'm just trying to do my thing, and if you guys dig it, then join me on the ride, because I'm just doing my own thing. And yeah, man, I have done battles. I believe it or not, man, I entered the DMC in like 2004, and back then I was trash. I was no good, and didn't get very far. But yeah, it's not for me. And the ones that are really hungry to do it, they're the ones that should do it. Like, I could do it, and maybe I could get into a mind state where I care enough, and I could do okay at it. But those that really want it should go for it. So I'm leaving that to you guys.
Yeah, and I think
that makes sense. It's not a short answer.
Yeah. It's not an easy answer for people to just kind of understand, because people just assume that if you're good at something, you want to prove that you're the best at something. And
I've always felt like I don't need a competition to tell me if I'm good or not. I'll let the public, just the fans, the viewers, tell me if they like it. And even still, I don't really care that much on people's opinions of my work, because I'm like one of those true artists, kind of hippie guys who just makes what he feels, and what happens after it goes out to the world is not really of much consequence. I'm just making stuff that's true to me, and I'm doing that now for other people, like partnering with brands who are releasing products. Trying to do that for them as well as for myself. So yeah, I'm a different animal, man. I'm built differently in the game. I'm just not trying to do what a lot of people are doing.
I think, and I think we'll talk about the brands for a minute, but I also believe that it's also your foundations, your footings that kind of create the person you are today. And I think that anybody, and I'd say anybody, because I feel like I kind of feel the same way as you, where it's like, if you came up in a little bit more of a corporate environment, you understand that there's a bigger picture than people that are kind of just like, no, I DJ, I learned how to DJ, that's what I do, and I need to show everybody I'm the best because this is what I do. But when you're in a corporate environment, you're kind of like, you can be the best, but you can also be the best over here, or you can be the best over here. Like, there's so many avenues that you can kind of take. You
nailed it. You nailed it. And you're proving right now that there's a different avenue with the kind of content you're doing. There's so many different avenues if you look for them, and if they don't exist, you can create them. DJing, I still believe. Oh, Cleveland, he's frozen. Is he frozen on you guys? Cleveland. Can you guys still hear me? Anybody? Hello? Man couldn't take the realness. He couldn't take the realness. He's in shock. Come on, CT. Get that dial-up going again. But anyway, cheers to all of you guys in the chat, showing love. I appreciate you all, for real. Some really, really good comments coming through. Oh, he's gone. All right. Welcome to the DJ Angelo show. Today's guest, Cleveland Terry. He's in the green room right now, just waiting to bring him on. Where's he gone? Anyway, you guys in the chat, talk to me. Where you all from? Do we have any Europeans? Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
I was just talking about you.
Yeah.
All back.
Well, I was going to say you were just complimenting me and then it cut off. So please go back to complimenting me. I didn't hear any of the compliments.
So yeah, what I was saying was, DJing is still relatively young as an industry.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so, right? If you think about like career DJing, it's not that old. You know, when was
Right.
the first club DJ, you know, the working club DJ? It's not that old. So the point I'm making is there's a lot of uncharted territory. There's a lot of places DJing could go and spaces DJs could occupy. And I think that's something I'm really curious about, because we're not all going to be playing in clubs, and definitely not
Right.
forever, right?
Mhm.
But that's what everyone, you know, assumes is the avenue to take. I want to be a DJ. I need to play clubs, and that's most people's bread and butter, and I get that. But where else can we take this? Where else can we exist? That's the question I have for all of you guys. Like, where can DJs exist? Because we're getting niche by the day. I feel, you know, a lot of people think DJing is growing. I think more people are joining DJing, but I think our exposure, our recognition is shrinking, and I think
Because everybody's a DJ.
I think that less people care about us than they used to, if that makes sense. Like, DJs are aware of each other. We care about our culture, our space, but I think we're starting to lose the attention of other spaces, and we need to do something about that, because a scene or a culture that is completely insular is not a healthy space. It's not a healthy culture. If it's just us guys sharing videos with each other and patting each other on the back, that's not real. That's not communicating to an audience, which is what DJs are supposed to do.
Yeah, we
Our
are definitely
audience
in a bubble.
Is
you're
them.
right.
You know, and,
yes. I agree 100% with what you're saying, because I think everybody's moved over to Twitch. So, you know, Twitch is the new streaming, DJing, online, real time. That's the thing. And I love it. Look, I'm doing a show. There's tons of DJs in the chat. But what's not in the chat? Regular people that just want to hear.
Right.
It's all
if that's your goal, then you know, it's achievable, but you may have to do a few, you know, updates, tweaks to the way you...
You know what? I don't really care about regular people, but it just, I think, like, I have actually gotten people that have no interest in DJing, like, find my videos and are like, you know, I just enjoyed watching your video. I don't know anything about DJing, but I just enjoy it. And I think we need to get that. It's kind of like, anybody ever watch like home improvement channels? And you get on the channel and you're watching somebody build his house, or dude, you're just like looking at it like, I have no interest in doing this, but I'm still really, really like intrigued about what's going on. We don't provide that, you know? So it's kind of like if you're DJing, people walk up to you and they're like, I just kind of, and people they're just staring at you, right? You're like, hey, can I help you? They're like, I just want to see what you're doing. Like, I've never seen this part of it. This is amazing.
Yeah.
We need to do a better job of that.
Presenting our profession to the layman. I think that's like what you're doing now with this show. I think this is what you're doing is this kind of stuff is lacking. I believe, where it's topical. We just happen to be DJs. But I watch videos like this for actors. I watch actors on YouTube, which is just two actors talking about their profession, and that interests me. I'm not an actor, but I'll watch that and enjoy that. And I think we haven't quite nailed how to communicate our profession to outsiders, and we keep catering for each other, and that's not going to help us grow. That's unhealthy. And with that, you get a lot of, you know, the toxic stuff that people hating and being bitter and all of that stuff. And that's another reason why you don't really see me everywhere, you know, like that's why I was hesitant to do this show, because I'm not really trying to be everywhere that every DJ is, because it's getting a little unhealthy at times when it's the same people just circulating around the same space with no fresh eyes and no
perspective.
fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
agreed.
I'm just trying to be real with you guys, man. I've been DJing 25 years. Don't let the baby face fool you. I've seen a lot of trends come in and leave, and there's a lot of things I love about the culture still. There's a lot of things I hate about the culture, and I, for one, I've dedicated my life to this, and I'm trying to improve things in every sense, not just like technology and skill and technique and art, but also how we are with each other and how we are perceived from outsiders. Because it's a dope culture, and I don't want it to just become this unhealthy, insular, toxic environment where DJs just trash each other and push each other's opinions on each other.
It's interesting.
Do it with real vinyl, bro. Come on, man. We don't need that anymore.
It's interesting because I know you haven't really been on Twitch, but ever since the mass exodus from Facebook and IG, and by the way, Professor BX Drew is on. Pioneer Drew.
Shout out to the man. What up, Drew? The guru.
So the guru, yeah, legitimately. But since we had this mass exodus and everybody kind of moved over to Twitch, there has been a camaraderie within the DJ community that is like something that I've never seen before. Because prior to quarantine, it was really hard to connect yourself with people that were above you. They were just the kind of assholes. I mean, that's just facts. And I'm not trying to take one out. But hold on. And it's funny. I'm hearing the static again. I wonder if it's. Hold on. It's gone now. It's gone. No, it's still there. It's definitely coming from you because when I remove it, it goes away. But now, hold on. It's still there, but I'm sure it'll go away. We just got to be patient with it. Now it's better.
Yeah.
See?
Okay.
Yeah.
Static.
But everybody was kind of in their own thing. They knew who they were, and everybody told them they were great and they could get any gig they wanted. So it was never a question. And then we move over to Twitch where everybody's kind of on the same equal playing field, and all of a sudden, a lot of people that you didn't think were accessible are like regular people again. Because they understand. Now, I don't know how this is going to be once we're out of quarantine, but I know that right now we're in a good place. But I've kind of made that joke we'll see when we get out if people are as nice as they were before. If people aren't back to cutthroat, we'll see.
Right, yeah. There might be even more cutthroat. Who knows?
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Less opportunities. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, you're very right.
Yeah, we just need to be nice, man. People need to be nice to each other and not tear each other down, because I see it all the time, and it disappoints me as an elder statesman of the craft, because I just think what must we look like to outsiders when we're bickering amongst ourselves in comment sections over gear and what's real, and it embarrasses me. It embarrasses me, honestly. I just think, guys, if you're one of those people, get it together, because I don't think other musicians do this. I don't think you got people on a piano forum saying, "Oh, he's cheating by playing the F sharp major chord instead of the, you know what I'm saying? Guys, this isn't high school. We're professional, grown ass men and women who are trying to legitimize this art form and profession. Leave that high school stuff back in high school. Let's just get on with being dope at this.
A lot of people haven't been professionals, though. That's the key. I think we're nailing it right now. A lot of people just came from high school mentality.
Grown ass people shouldn't be talking like it's high school and pushing opinions on each other about how someone else should DJ. Are you serious? The next thing you're gonna do is tell me I should be a vegan or I should support a certain president or not. Come on, let's step away from this pushing opinions on each other. Let people DJ how they want to DJ. That's so minor in the grand scheme of what we should be trying to achieve and focus on. It's embarrassing to me that we're still talking about stuff like that in the comments of videos that can make or break our careers, you know? And if outsiders are discovering us for the first time and they're reading comments of like childish stuff, they're not going to want to know. They're going to think we're a joke. And I just don't want this profession to be seen as that, you know.
Yeah, agreed.
Just my 2 cents, man. I don't want to get all heavy up in here.
No, it's cool. It's good. It's good. It works for me. But
and this is coming from someone who's been on YouTube since 2008, so I've seen it all. I've seen and read it all, and it doesn't bother me at all anymore what dumb comments I see. But I know it bothers a lot of people, and I just think, man, just don't let people steer you off track of what you want to do and what you're about, because that's how we all end up falling in line and being the same, and originality dies. And we
Who
definitely
wants to be the same.
Yeah, man. I want to see some weird stuff. I want to see like weird ideas. You think of the best DJs or the most memorable ones? They're the ones who were doing stuff you've never seen before, right? Who are just, look at Turntablists, you know, from the golden era, who were doing stuff with like elastic bands on tone arms and you know, like all these techniques that got invented were from people stepping out of the lines. So yeah, man, just go for it.
So Big Roo says, I agree with Angelo, but turntables and rap did always have the element of dissing others in competition, though.
That's different. That's completely different. In battles, anything goes, man. Gloves off. Like you should. You're
calling little 8-year-olds, you know, bad words and stuff.
Exactly.
Like, we get it. It's a part of it.
In the battles, go for it, man. Tear each other apart. But nobody should be no other DJ should be trying to tell another DJ what to do. That's just the lamest thing ever. Like, do you not think some of these people are DJing exactly how they want to DJ? They've thought about it. Some of them people tell me how to DJ. 25 years in the game. You not think I figured it out by now? Like, come on, man.
Wait, hold on. I got to know, though. What do they say to you?
Well, you know, some people find me for the first time and say,
sure,
yeah, that's cool, kid, but try it with real vinyl. I'm like, bro, my goodness. You know, and I pay no attention to anything like that. My platforms are always just positivity. I don't even approve dumbass comments. I don't respond. I'm not about that. I think you got to set the example you want to see, and you know, we need more positivity. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
The world needs more positivity, man. Period.
That is for damn sure. But it's interesting though, because even if like you watch your first video, and I think we all kind of suffer from this, is really finding your voice, because the difference between like your first video to even your 16th video up until now, it's a difference. And you were saying how, you know, my vibe is my vibe, and you know how I'm honest and stuff. You know, the hardest part, if anybody's out there trying to figure out if they want to do YouTube, the hardest part is really discovering your voice, your camera voice, the way you look at a camera and are able to talk to a camera and still project personality.
But your voice doesn't even have to be your voice. Like, what are you trying to say as a DJ? That's what I'm trying to, like, you can say a lot through videos. I haven't made a video talking to camera in a long time. I've been talking through my hands, right? But I like to think my routines could be understood on different levels. You know, I put that much thought into them, that you can watch them as a DJ and be impressed by technique, but you can watch them, you know, in terms of musicality and ideas. But I think your voice is just, if you're not good at talking, you don't have to talk. You know, we're in a musical art form. We can say all we want through the music. So you just have to figure out, why are you here? As in, why are you in the DJ space? What are you here for? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to change? You don't have to be groundbreaking or, you know, invent the next big thing, but you just have to figure out, like, you know, where do you want to be? Where do you place yourself in this the grand scheme of things. And for me, that has never been in the battle scene or stuff like that where other people have been. I'm trying to hack through the Amazon jungle with my machete to find an oasis, to find new ground. Basically, I'm trying to go where people haven't gone.
So speaking of new ground, what is your? Because I know you are a very private individual, but what are you doing when you're not, on YouTube or doing reloop videos? What do we do?
Wouldn't you like to know, Cleveland Terry? Well, normal stuff. I'm a regular dude. I have social life. I have a love life. I have a great family. I live. I'll tell you what. Not many people know, but I live in Berlin, Germany. And
didn't know.
I grew up in England, but I moved here 5 years ago, and I've been here ever since. And I just kind of do my thing. I do regular stuff, man. I watch movies. I play video games. I eat delicious food that's all around here, and and I live and breathe DJing, but I don't only do that. As I mentioned, I'm really into film and video and stuff, and I study film and actors, and I find a lot of parallels with acting and DJing, because they're both in the entertainment industry. They're both very saturated markets, and there's only so many parts available for actors, and it's a little similar to DJing, how you can have leading men and leading women who get the big parts and the big gigs, but then there's still a need for supporting actors and supporting DJs. Like, you don't have to be a leading man or a leading woman to have a career in this. So I think there's a lot of parallels with other creative industries, and so I draw a lot of inspiration outside of DJing. I don't consume that much DJ content, if I'm honest.
Neither do I.
And that's no disrespect to anyone out there, because I obviously would love that you consume mine, but I'm looking for inspiration, usually from random places.
To be fair, I don't think many YouTube people, because I have a group of peers. As a matter of fact, for anybody, we're doing people. This is a big deal. We're doing Quarantine DJs tonight on DJ Bar's channel. So DJ Bar is a very large, decently large YouTuber also, and we rarely watch each other's videos, and we all know this. This is a part of the life of a YouTube person. You don't want it to kind of bleed into your own stuff and then affect how you do your own videos.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's, you got to get that balance right, because you sometimes need to see other DJ content. But if you see too much, you're distracted and you're taken off course with your own stuff. So you got to get that balance right.
Especially with hardware reviews. Like Mojax is now a good friend of mine, because of quarantine and everything. And we happen to get hardware at the same time, and we'll release it, and I won't watch anybody's video. And this is the God's honest truth. I won't watch another review for usually 3 days to a week, because I don't want to know that I missed something in a video that somebody else spotted. It drives me nuts. So I'm just like, I gotta let it go for a minute, and then I'll watch them, because I never watch a video before I do a video, because to me that just screws up everything. It just changes your entire voice. And
it does.
So
it will do.
So everybody's different though.
Yeah, and I think all the people who ask me like how I create routines, where I get my ideas from, I get ideas by isolating myself and pulling them out of me, and not from what I'm seeing other people do. So
that's great though, and everybody's different. I mean, I know some people. I see Diamond Lee saying, which is a little bit of a different thing when you're comparing content creators, but Diamond Lee said, but I do study dancehall reggae artist streams to help improve my sets. That's a little different, because you are getting inspiration, and I listen to DJs and music all the time, and you find something you like. I found so much music over this year.
If you enjoy watching other DJs, go for it, man. I'm not saying don't do that. Yeah. If I had more time, I probably would do the same. But I generally have projects on the go all the time that I'm working on and need my utmost attention. But I think some people enjoy watching DJs as entertainment. That's their entertainment to them, you know. But I'd probably rather play a video game or watch a movie than watch a DJ if I had the choice. You know, being straight up.
I think you got to space it out. I think a lot of people moved over to Twitch, and then they became like Twitch, just Twitch focused. Everything was about Twitch. And I enjoy watching people because, I mean, come on. Where in the world can you normally turn on and go, you know what? I think I'm going to watch Scratch Bastard today. You know what? No, I'm going to watch Craze. You know what? No, I'm going to watch Jazzy Jeff. Like that. This world we're in didn't used to exist. Madness. So I totally appreciate that. And by the way, if anybody, I don't know if has anybody talked about the future, like NAMM 2022, because like I saw you at BPM Supreme at the club, their little party.
Yeah.
And
NAMM. We can talk a bit about NAMM. So I saw your show with Shorty, and I was relating hard to what she was saying about how hard NAMM is for artists. Like, it looks easy, and you know, it sounds like a dream job. You're doing demos on a booth all day long, surrounded by DJs with so much gear around. It's like, you know, it's like a playground for DJs, right? But in reality, it's exhausting, and as you know, the sound levels, it's insane. Like there's noise coming from everywhere. Booth. It's impossible to hear yourself and play clean routines, clean performances. And as I'm involved with product development for Reloop as well, I'm jumping in and out of meetings with Serato and other people, and then I'm trying to like make sure I get to my slot on time to play on the booth. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm like catching up with people like you and whoever else I only see once a year, and answering a ton of questions from up and coming guys. It's like non-stop, exhausting. I'm drained and I pass out every single night after NAMM. And on top of that, I'm jet lagged to hell. I've generally landed into the States the day before, or the night before.
Jeez.
So like if I'm ever like not like I am now when you see me now, that's why I'm like running on fumes. Yeah, and it bothers me because some people only see me once a year, and you see me literally at my worst. But that's why I'm exhausted. My ears are ringing. I'm jet lagged, and I'm probably nervous too because I'm pulling off routines, usually on prototype gear as well. Yeah. That I haven't had a lot of time with myself. Sometimes I've had a week with something, and I'm praying that I can pull off this new routine in front of people with terrible monitoring because of the noise. Everything's against you basically now. But that's like when people see me, and I'm like struggling so hard at the NAMM show. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not always at my best when you see me over there.
That sounds like an apology. I never felt that you were out of pocket or anything. You were just kind of doing your thing. Like, I get it. Man. It's busy.
No, it's tough. It's a tough week. It's a tough week coming from Europe and going there to do it as well. That's tough. That's tough for sure.
Yeah, and coming all the way from Germany, it's a long flight. Like everything about it just seems like it takes forever. Yeah. Drew says, I literally tell myself every morning at NAMM before I go out on the show, time to look pretty. Yeah,
Drew, you already look pretty anyway, man. You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, it's funny because even for like somebody like me, who I typically only take like 2 days at NAMM. I go stay out there. Fortunately, like I have cousins that literally live like 2 miles down, so I'll stay there so I can come back in the morning. But it's an insane. Crazy. It's an insane couple of days for anybody that's there because you're trying to hit everything.
Zero chill, day and night, zero.
Exactly. And for somebody like me, I'm legitimately. 2020 for me was making contacts because I was at a point now where it's like, okay, my numbers are good enough. I need to start like developing relationships with people. And so that was my whole thing in 2020. And then also getting content. And it was, so even for me, like you're running around all day long, then it's like 5 o'clock, but you can't go home. Now you're waiting between parties. And I think I went and saw DJ Puffy was performing outside. And then then you go to the hotel, which is connected to the convention center. And now you're at some party, you're drinking, and then
there's a rock band in the lobby.
Exactly.
You're not sleeping until past 3 a.m.
Definitely not. Yeah. And then you have to wait for BPM Supreme, which was at the time, and who knows if they're gonna do it anymore. But that was like the pinnacle of the night, BPM Supreme concert. And the first year I didn't get in because they made everybody wait way too damn long. So I was like, I'm done.
Man,
I'm good. I'm
first
out
year,
here.
I almost didn't even get in the first year. I didn't bring my ID, because in Europe we don't do that. You guys like rely on having your passports.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay,
we don't do that. We don't need to. So that
you have like a chip. You have to like swipe yourself.
They just take one look at you. Are you 18? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, gotcha. That's funny. Okay, yeah. But then
it's mad that you guys have to do that.
I know, but 2020 I got in, which was good, and and all the DJs were just like on fire. That was the first time I saw Scratch Bastard live.
Killed it.
Just destroyed it.
Yeah, I was on fumes, but he killed it. I was struggling, man.
Yeah, but again, I get it. It's a long day. So, what are your thoughts on 2022 and where we're going to be throughout this quarantine battle? Do you think there's going to be a NAMM 2022?
I was feeling pretty optimistic about normality for next year, but just now here in Berlin, the numbers have been going up. The COVID cases have been going up again, and we were just starting to get a hold of it, and things were reopening. And now the president here is she wanted to enforce a hard lockdown for Easter, but then everybody protested, so she's lifted that. But yeah, I thought we were through the worst, but now it's just lingering, man. It's getting awkward.
Key. It's the lingering that's the problem.
Lingering, man.
Yeah.
So
the moment you say no, people protest, and they're outside, so we're still in the same situation. They're still exposing themselves to one another. We just can't win.
There's so many inconsistencies that I just, man, I don't get it. Like I took my first flight 2 weeks ago to Spain.
Oh wow!
I took a COVID test here. So that I could fly there, and I took one to leave and come back, and and I don't know what my point was. What was I saying about that?
You're probably going to say how everything is kind of changed, and just when you think everything's fine, you're right back to normal. It's funny though. While you're thinking about that, I mean, I've been fully vaccinated now, so I got my last vaccine last Monday. And it's weird though, because I'm fully vaccinated, but I don't feel fully vaccinated because the world hasn't changed.
I know what I was going to say. Go ahead. Yeah. So when you're in the airport, when you're at the gate, they're saying to you, please keep 2 meters apart from your fellow passengers. And then you go through.
All you Americans, that's 6 feet.
And then you go through and get on the plane. And then you sit next to two people.
Yes. So that's a big deal. I saw that on Facebook where people were complaining, like, why can't we have concerts?
Where's the logic here?
Yeah. Why can't we have concerts? Why can't we have our clubs back open? Because I can get on a plane and it's completely stuffed with people. So where is there seems a little bit of hypocrisy in it. But
no, everybody's just winging it, man. Nobody knows what to do. And to some extent, you have to use your own common sense, I think, because even the professionals don't even know how to handle this, right? But man, I'm optimistic. it can't be like this forever. You know, it's here to stay, but so was flu. Flu's here to stay, and we found a way around flu. So I'm sure it's going to go back to normal, but maybe just, you know, more precautions before people can get into events and stuff like that.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, look, I'm gonna tell you this right now: fully vaccinated, and even if like 6 months from now I get another booster shot and I'm like super vaccinated, if there is a NAM, I'm still not touching people. This is what you get.
That's going to be tough at NAM to keep people distanced. Very tough.
I don't think that, but I think at that point they won't need to keep people distanced. But it's still. I mean, I saw in the chat somebody said Namthrax is real. I'm not a guy that really does a lot of touching. Like, that's just never been my thing. So,
you're not a hugger.
No, so this is a perfect time for me to be like, sorry guys, like, you get it now. Like, I'm sorry I can't touch you.
But don't you think that a lot of the business could be done online? NAM's business?
I mean, a lot of it could be. They tried this year, and I think technically it was a success. Look, I'm not complaining because as you realize, it just put a lot more love on the YouTube community, because we now are kind of the eyes and ears, the marketing of companies. So I'm not complaining about that. That's been great, but there is a certain feel to just being out and seeing people of like mind, and, you know, being able to see people do amazing things. And, you know, I don't want that to go away. I mean, it's March now. I think that if we have vaccines readily available to anybody that wants them, like, I can just go into my local pharmacy and get a COVID shot, a COVID vaccine. When that happens, I think the world will open up. But not until then, because you can't keep the world held hostage with this disease. And I'm a believer of it, by the way. This is not me saying it doesn't exist. It exists 100%. But once anybody can get it, now there's a difference between, and this is a relative term, smart people realizing that they need to get the vaccine because they need to survive and to actually move forward in the world, and then dumb people who want to fight it for no reason, because there's some people that medically maybe can't do vaccinations. I get it. And that's why we do herd immunity, so we protect everybody else. But until we get to that point to where people are like, okay, I can get it whenever I want to, we're going to be in the same situation. It needs to be just kind of a thing. Did you get your flu shot yesterday? Yeah. Once that happens, the world, I think we all change, you know, because there are flu variants every year. Every flu vaccine they come out with, they have no idea if it's going to be the flu that becomes the big one that year, which is why some people get flu vaccinations and they still get a little sick. They just don't get as sick. And that's all that this vaccine is supposed to do. It's just supposed to stop you from dying. That's the key. Just stop you from dying. You know, anyway, but yeah, so I think once that happens, which they're saying in America, everybody will have it available by June? So let's just be real and say July, August. And then we need the kids to get vaccinated, because we don't have vaccines for the kids yet. You know, so I think that's the biggest deal. When do the kids get their vaccines available? Because I want my kids out of the house. I'm sick of seeing them.
You just want to work. You just want to make content, don't you?
I want to be back, and look, like I said, YouTube is a supplement. My company, where we send out, 10 DJs on a Saturday night, that's where we made our money. And I can't do that part. So that's the issue. I'm just, hey man, we're all trying to survive here. So that's where we have leveraging and trying to do more and sponsorships.
That's why we got to wear a lot of hats these days.
Yes. And, sponsorships are the key.
Yeah. Whatever you can do, man.
Yeah.
I've always had that in mind, to never put everything in one place. Never just put everything in one basket. And it just happened organically for me that I was into other things other than just playing in clubs, DJing in clubs. So I definitely think it's wise for DJs to think about alternative revenue streams. I know it's easier said than done, and there's only
hold on 1 second. Hold on. Hey Ben, you got to ask the question again because it was way up there. So just ask it again, and then we'll get to the question and answer in a couple of minutes. Because I see he keeps asking, so I don't want to forget about you. So ask the question again. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've had a lot of questions come through.
I know, but there is an ask section which we'll get to pretty much right after this one, and then people can ask, and then we can answer, and then you can be on your merry way.
No, I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm enjoying it.
See, and you were worried about 3 hours.
No, I wasn't worried. I was never in doubt that this would be dope.
Well, let's do this. Everybody in the chat, we are going to open up to ask anyway. So if you have a question, now is the time to throw it in the chat. Make sure that you put the hashtag ask in front, or we're going to ignore it because it's just easier to spot the questions that exist. So let me throw that up there just so people can see it. It's funny. I know somebody had said, enough about COVID talk, guys. The show is human beings having a conversation. So
trying to
sometimes
get those outsiders interested into our
exactly. Like
common ground.
I love talking to DJs. I really do love talking. I love talking about gear, and I wouldn't be where I am if I weren't talking about DJ related stuff. But we can't, just like Angelo was talking about, we cannot operate in a bubble. And just because we are uncomfortable talking about something, we shouldn't. The fact is, every DJ that's on here right now is being forced to change everything they know because of COVID. So we can't act like it doesn't exist. It's a part of life. Yeah.
So and I like talking about gear to some extent, but I reach a point where I'm done with talking shop, and I love answering questions that are a little deeper than just gear and techniques.
Agreed.
Here's a chance for you guys to pick my brains, challenge me. You got me. I'm here.
Yeah.
What do you need?
So let's see. So he said, any chances these issues? I think he reposted it. I want to get to Ben first, but I don't know if he's already asked the question. All right, here we go. Unlike Vestax controller, one turntable with notation controls, the Reloop Elite turns don't have octave, minor, major, or vibrato controls, or as much torque on the note changes. I think he's asking
have octaves. Of course, yeah, they have octaves. They have minor and major. They have 23 scales. They don't have as much torque on the note changes. I guess naturally the very slow notes, where the plateau is at its slowest, they won't be as powerful as the higher torques. But of course they have octaves. You turn the encoder, the tracks encoder, what you would normally use to scroll to Serato when you're in normal DJ mode, but in platter play mode that becomes the octave scroll, and you can scroll from the red to the yellow to the green octave, or even the blue. There's 4 octaves available in some scales. So red, yellow, green, blue are the 4 octaves. But yeah, of course there's minor and major, and there's a setting if you know how to change the optional settings. I can't remember how to access it. You have to hold shift and sampler when you turn it on or something. There's an option to turn on the black and white key option. So basically the pads that are brighter are the white keys, and the dimmer pads are the black keys.
Oh, that's cool.
That's an option. So yeah, we've updated a lot in the last firmware. So maybe you haven't checked out the last firmware, but you can get that from reloop.com.
So speaking of firmware, I know that the question was asked about Scratch Bank, and if the Elite was getting the Scratch Bank.
We're gonna get it for sure. Yeah, it's Serato's call for that. We're waiting for them basically. Yeah, we can't decide things like that. It's always Serato.
It's in the software, unfortunately.
It's in the software. It's in the implementation from their side. So yeah, it is coming though.
Yeah, that's why when people, because we know that both Pioneer, DJ, and Rain has Scratch Bank, but when I was testing Scratch Bank, when I got the beta, I happened to plug in the 72 I was testing also, and ScratchBank worked just fine. And then when the production level came out, all of a sudden it was gone. So it's definitely a switch, basically, that Serato has to turn on to get it to work properly. DJ Special J asks, do you still have set goals, and what are they? I guess what are your goals for maybe the end of this year and maybe into 2022?
For sure. I'm trying to make more content that hasn't been done before in the DJ space, and I'm working on a few bits right now that will be coming out soon. So yeah, I'm really into combining my love of film and video and visual storytelling with DJing, and trying to make, who knows, maybe documentaries or short films with DJing at the core of it. So that's what I'm exploring these days.
Yeah. I think a lot. I think if you're anything artistic, I think you're probably going to think about doing other things naturally, just because. For sure, man. And it's a part of growing.
It's no surprise when you see artists who can sing and act and direct movies, because when you're creative, you can normally figure out the rest. You can put that creativity into different areas, and I'm definitely multifaceted to some degree. DJing alone isn't enough to satisfy me, and that may be why you don't see me everywhere. I'm not really trying to be everywhere or play everywhere or hang with everyone, because I'm kind of into a lot of different things and trying to make sense to my purpose really here on this planet.
Yep, fair enough. Let's see. Vinyl Touch says, let's see here. Given the new release of battle mixers from Rain and Pioneer, do you think the Reloop Elite still holds its own pretty well against them? Do you feel addition of a screen is welcome? For future product, etc.
Sure. I'm not against the screen at all. I have an S11 in my studio right now that I'm sampling, and sure, it's a great mixer, and the Elite is too. And there's no perfect mixer. I can pick faults with every product out there, but I always say, it's the product is as good as the user most of the time, because a lot of the frills are exactly that. They're not core to the functionality and to your DJing and to how good you are. So I can still do a lot of things with just the old Technics mixer with zero effects. I can still throw down on that. So yeah, I don't really think there's any point comparing products like that anymore. It's you can do the same, or you can figure out ways to do the same on all of them. Sometimes you have to be a little more creative, but yeah, like I was saying in the earlier portion of this chat, was I would love to see just more emphasis on art than technology. Let's see what you can do, not what the technology does for you.
Right. Yeah.
Controversial stuff right there. Just ideas, man. I want to see cool ideas.
Yeah, agreed.
I did a recent live stream with Digital DJ Tips where I said ideas are more important than skills, and a lot of people agreed with me. And I don't know how many people have said it that way before, but I think a lot of people focus on skills. They just want to get the best they can at scratching, and they think that's gonna elevate their game. But honestly, man, with me, I don't spend that much time just beating away at scratching. I work on dope ideas. I work on ideas, and then I figure out, okay, what do I need to do that idea? Can I do that yet? If not, I need to learn how to do that. And some of those things have been finger drumming. Some of those things have been tone playing and 3-click flares and whatever. I've learned the skills I've needed as I've gone to execute the ideas. So. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ideas are number one for me.
Well, and I think that the way you DJ, the way you scratch there's a musicality involved. Like, your scratches have a purpose, and they're designed to work with the music, not against it. And I know there are certain DJs out there, that are amazing scratchers, but when you listen to them, it's almost like, okay, I hear what you're doing, and I know what you're doing is super technical. It just doesn't sound good to my ears.
Right.
And it happens. Yeah.
It happens all the time. And this was another thing I said in that live stream with Digital DJ Tips, to pay attention to what comes out of the speakers, because so many people, and I've been guilty of this, is that when they go in and they're performing, they're cutting it up, whatever, they completely disconnect with how they sound to other people. It's like, it's a difficult thing to do, I admit, to execute something you're trying to do, but also to listen to yourself as a third person. That's not easy. You've got to be able to execute and monitor yourself at the same time, and it takes training. And but I see it time and time again. People are just so focused on nailing that technique they've just learned, and they're either scratching way too loud over the beat, or it's just not pleasant to listen to. Yeah. So you just bear in mind who it's for, who you're doing it for, who's listening.
DJ Chick, I think, or Chuck, asked about the 4-deck routine for reloop. How did he design it?
Man, what I was saying earlier about some routines come easily and some don't. This one took some time, and if you watch the video, you probably think it didn't take him long, but this one took so much thought that I was basically trying to compose a track that took 4 pieces live with live manipulation of all of them, and that's not easy to do. So I guess when I make routines, I always think of what I want it to sound like at the end, but I also think of what do I need to do, or what can I do to make it sound like that, because it can't just be a finished track. There has to be my input. That finished musical piece should only exist by my input. So I guess with that one, I knew that I needed 4 stems, and I needed 4 stems that complemented each other. So I knew I needed drums, I knew I needed vocals.
Hold on. You stop at 4 stems because it's popping in and popping out. It's usually like a 10-second thing, then it goes away. Hold on. Let's see if it goes away.
Yeah.
Hold on. Remove. Add back. All right. Let's see if you're better now. You're
good?
better now.
We're good?
Yep.
4
stems.
Yeah. So I applied a bit of science to it, that I knew that I couldn't just layer any 4 things on top of each other. So I tried to pick things that occupied their own space in the spectrum, audio spectrum. So I treated it like producing a track, I guess. And then I went in and tried to find ways of manipulating those sounds in a way that I was necessary in the music. Like, it wouldn't sound the same without me being there, basically. And just try to make it as technical as I could, but still sound like the final piece that I wanted it to sound like. Yeah, it's hard to explain, and it's even harder to do in real life. But that one was a very, very unique one. I've never done a 4-deck routine before, so it was more about a challenge, setting the challenge, really.
I was just pulling up your tutorials.djangelo.co.uk. And and I mean, look, you can buy all of them. This price of
and a few more
$25. Yeah, that's super cheap.
Yeah, and the reason it's cheap, the reason it even exists like that is because a few years, well, not a few years, 10 years ago, and it was something now, I released a little USB keychain with a file on there with all of those tutorials and the bonus ones, and I sold that for $25. And I decided to discontinue that product because it was just a bit of a hassle getting it manufactured in China and all of that stuff and keeping stock. So I still wanted those tutorials to be available, especially the bonus ones that no one on YouTube had seen. But I didn't want to give them away for free and be unfair to those who had bought the USB drive. So I just put them at the same price online. And yeah, it's not a money maker at all. It's just making sure they're there for people who want them, to keep this culture going, basically, keep the art form going.
Gotcha. Okay, let's see here. You do. Oh, somebody's asking about your merch.
They are?
And do you have a yeah. Professor BX said he's asking about your hoodie, and do you have a t-shirt version of it?
Professor BX needs to watch this space.
Coming
but
soon.
Thank you for asking. Yeah, sure. Coming soon.
Gotcha.
You heard it here first.
All right. Perfect. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody's asking about VR content. Have you done any VR content?
I have not done any VR content.
Yeah, they say, what do you think about VR content?
I'm not sure what he means by that. Like in the DJ space? Like
that'd be different. I mean, people have done it with GoPros and stuff. It's kind of already there, so to speak. Huh.
But I'm game. I'm game to try anything new. Any new areas that DJing can be applied to, I'm interested in. I mean, hell, I jumped out of a plane and scratched an iPad in the air a few years back. Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
You've not seen that? Yeah.
I haven't seen that
Oh
one.
man, I risked my life for this video for algorithm.
That's I gotta find that one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought I was onto a viral, man, but it didn't turn out that way. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen to your content. But yeah, I pitched the idea. That's the dumbest thing. It was my idea. I pitched the idea to algorithm. I have an idea of jumping out of a plane with an iPad strapped to my arm and DJing in midair. Like no one's done that before, and they said yes. Like they agreed to it. They funded it. I flew to Valencia, Spain, and I did 2 jumps back to back to shoot
back to back.
Dude, I booked 2. I booked 2 as a backup. As I had 1 as a backup, and I'm glad I did because the first jump I did it, and the GoPro on my chest was pointing the wrong way, so it didn't capture any of the iPad. So I had to go again anyway, and I don't know if anyone's. Yeah,
no, we got it.
Go ahead.
Hold up.
It's not that good, I'll admit. It didn't turn out that great because I only had 1 shot after that messed up one.
Hey, it's DJ Angelo. Hey, fly or die, baby. Let's go. Hey, yo, fly or die, baby. Head up and go, step up and grow. Look to the sky, let people know. No need to fear, 'cause it's your time to blow. Take it in, go.
That's it, man.
That's crazy, though.
You are literally playing some of my worst videos today.
I'm
Thanks for
glad I
that.
could
Thanks for
help.
that. Yeah, I was quite glad that one went a little under the radar.
Right.
Yeah, it did.
Right.
You know, it's one of those ideas that in practice it didn't really work out the way I thought it would.
I get that.
I damn near blew out my eardrums trying to make that. Because I had in-ears under my helmet, and
it's got to be loud so you can hear it.
With the G-force and everything.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, I almost deafened myself. It was painful, very painful.
Okay, good to know. Let's see, who else we got here? Oh, don't tell me you just went to... I hate when it does this. I will ask this one while we're looking. What are your thoughts on the fretless fader designed by John Bees? Have you ever
I think
tried
it's
it?
cool. Yeah, I think it's cool. I've never actually tried it. I've seen it. Like, it's been right there on the Reloop booth, and I've stood watching John Bees and Brace using it. Yeah, I think it's cool. I don't know if it's necessarily for me, but I love it, man. Why not? Any way of adding more musicality to our art form, I'm all for.
Yeah, exactly. Ricky El Patron says, how can a beginner make or build scratch combos?
Well,
That's actually a good question, because I know a lot of people will struggle with that. They'll get one thing that's, okay, I finally got this scratch. Now, how do I put it with this scratch? You know,
well, I think that your answer, you've just said it. You've just said the answer. You take the techniques you have, and then you try them out in different succession. Simple as that. In different, like every scratch can be done at different speeds. Right? You can do a baby scratch on beat, or double time, or triplet, or or even faster. And so you have various different tempos of doing each scratch technique. You have various different techniques, and it's just a case of slotting them together to see what sounds good, but also being aware of where your fader is for each technique. So you can't always do every technique after every technique, depending on where the fader ends, right? So it's trial and error, and it's just something you do. You learn enough techniques so that you have these words, and then you start making sentences, and there's many different kinds of sentences. But it's important to also leave space. Like, space is just as important as the notes themselves.
Playing within the keys, basically.
Yeah. Scratching is not just about filling space. It's like it's rhythmic. It's patterns. It's syncopation. Listen to a lot of rappers who have great flows. That's my advice. Don't listen to this new school Migos crap who's just it's like 3 words a bar. Like, listen to real lyricists who ride beats.
You've actually said, I think you said, try scratching over a hip hop rap, and just try to get the same cadence and everything.
And mimic the flows of the raps, because that's when I started doing that. I started to realize I've been scratching not the wrong way, but I've been scratching like in a primitive way, because this instrument, the scratch, is supposed to be an instrument like any other instrument over music. So if you were doing a guitar solo, you're not going to just strum a guitar on every beat and every snare. You're trying to ride the beat up and down, high and low, pauses, flurries, and it's the same with scratching. You're supposed to just let the music dictate what you do. When you get to a high enough level, you're able to do that. Your brain will interpret music, and you'll speak over the beat through your scratches, and that's what you're aiming to get to. But at the start, of course, you need to learn the techniques. You need to figure out what sounds good together, and then you figure out what you want to do, like what works for you, what sounds good to you.
Yeah,
and some people
Yeah, I was gonna say, somebody just asked about how important is music theory, fifths and time signature and note duration in the development of routines. No. I think it's a feel. I think it's good to know music theory, because it's important for any type of musician. But DJing is about feel.
Music, yeah, exactly. Music, music is both science and art, isn't it? And you can study the science all you want, but it doesn't mean you're gonna make good music. So you gotta love music. You gotta be able to identify what makes a song amazing to you, and you're trying to give that experience to your listeners as a DJ, basically. Yeah. And with a routine, you get the chance to really zone in and make something of your own from scratch. Pardon the pun. And completely construct something that's your own. And I think people are always overthinking routines. Like they think they need to study this, and they need this. They need to have learned all these scratch techniques. But like, if you take your core abilities as a DJ, playing music that you love, and you're trying to move people with that music, that's the framework. And then I believe every DJ has these set pieces that they do. Like you probably have some too, right, Cleveland? Mm-hmm. You probably have a track that you always play with this track, or an acapella that you always put with this beat. And I think every DJ has those, and those are great starting places to make routines. You know, take that as a starting point, and then figure out, how do I add more to this? How do I add more technicality? How do I add more variation? But
you nailed it though, because if you listen to some of the best scratching and best routines, I mean, like, I was a good DJ Premier as a perfect example. DJ Premier is not a flashy DJ, but every time he would scratch the hook or whatever, it was like right in the pocket, and it always sounded good. I don't know, this might be outside of some of you DJs out there, but I'm a huge Portishead fan, and the DJ for Portishead, which is actually one of the producers, I've seen them live, by the way, amazing, but he's not a super technical DJ.
Was that Andy Smith?
I think it might have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what he's doing in there, it's not super technical, but he's playing within the context of the song, creating that additional vibe that just works. And you have to know the music you're playing to make sure, and they're saying, yes, it is Andy Smith, to make sure, and he is a dope DJ. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm saying he's not in there going, I have a scratch part, hold on. He's staying within the same moody.
Good DJs know how to complement music.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you're adding something to an existing piece of music, you don't want to spoil that existing piece of music. You want to complement it. And that is a skill in itself. Having a good ear, that you have enough music stored in your brain that when you hear something, you think, I have something that might work with that.
Yes.
And that comes from listening to a lot of music. That comes from collecting music. That comes from memorizing lyrics and melodies and all kinds of things. And that is all part of this job as a DJ. We're all music nerds. That's our job. We're supposed to know music better than anyone else. So you need to fill your head with music.
Jorge Vega says, disagree, bro. It's very technical. I don't know which part you're talking about, so provide us with a little more. Primo. The scratches he does on a lot of the stuff, I guess, are technically technical.
It's all relative. Yes. That's technical
depending
to
on
some
where you
people.
are. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
What I'm saying is, it's not Qbert on the Premiere beat going ham on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's still within the pocket.
Exactly. And this is my proof that scratching is an instrument that not every scratch has to be shredding. Like, you can just pepper your scratches over a beat. If that services the beat better, and that's about having taste and knowing what's going to suit the music you're applying it to.
Yeah, Jorge, George, we're saying the same thing. You just said Primo makes music with his guts. That's exactly what we're saying. He's turned his scratching into an instrument. And that's something that I think a lot of DJs don't realize. It's okay to play in the pocket. Think of it like a jazz trumpet player, or a pianist. They're going to play within the keys and they're going to stay in. They might show a little. They'll show some technicality. Don't get me wrong, but it won't be over. It won't be above and beyond what the song is trying to say. No. Everybody has something they're saying. That's all.
And Primo specifically chose those samples for that hook. And that's the skill of a DJ. That's not just selecting records, selecting samples.
Yeah, exactly.
That would work.
Someone asked if what's the music you're listening to, genre of music that interests you now?
I'm going through
lots of trance.
Yeah, back to the 90s. Now I'm going through a drum and bass phase right now, personally.
A lot of people are. It's weird. Not weird,
I've
but
always loved drum and bass, and I guess I've just I've got more into it. I got more into it over lockdown last year, and I actually have a new mix that I have almost finished in the drum and bass vibe. So a new
916 Junglist.
live.
916 Junglist literally just came in the chat. He has a huge drum and bass channel, so you just made his day.
Yeah, no, I love it. I grew up in the UK. You know, I've always felt drum and bass and jungle, and I've wanted to try my hand at a full, long form mix with skills, and it's going to be probably my next Cohesion live mix on my YouTube channel. So look out for that. It's almost finished, 95% finished, I'd say. Some bangers in there.
Definitely. And somebody asked, were you ever planning on live streaming?
I didn't know. I reserved my account on Twitch, and I guess I didn't want to force anything. I wanted to let 2020 take me where it was supposed to, and I also took that as a huge break, because I've been on the road since 2011. I toured all over the world, and I'm doing like all the other stuff in the back end for brands, making videos and consulting for Reloop and stuff like that. So I'm working all the time on stuff. So when the tour stopped, that was like a huge chunk of my life I got back, and I haven't had that kind of a break since 2011. The anxieties that you get with touring and being tour ready and knowing what to play in each country and each city, and anxieties of flights and all of that stuff. Touring is amazing, but it comes with a lot of pressures that people don't always realize, behind the glamour of it all. But I took 2020 as a huge break for that, and I'm not in a rush to tour again, but I'll definitely be back to that at some point. But I enjoyed like just getting back in touch with my craft, my art form again. And like you may have seen that kind of lease of life in my recent content, that I've got back in touch with a few things, and got creative again.
Which is good though. So they found out about the VR content. They're saying, are there any VR training content that you can get on and I guess learn how to DJ with VR?
Wow.
That would be kind of cool and difficult at the same time. Like, I think you could do it for certain things and not for other things. But interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Somebody did make a VR DJ. I don't know if it was a game, but it was definitely a simulation.
About. Yes,
it was. Yeah, I posted about it on Instagram, and it looked okay, but I don't know. I'm just struggling to see what the purpose is. Like, what do we gain from doing this virtually?
Yeah, especially when there's so much. There's so much gear that you can get affordable, cheap gear now. Like a couple $100, and you have a controller sitting in front of you. So, there's
virtual DJing isn't as fun. Come on, it's never going to be as fun as touching stuff.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. Yeah. I'm gonna clip that and then put it up on the virtual DJ page.
Shout out to virtual DJ. They're good people too.
They are. And look, I always we have a love-hate relationship, because I was really hard on them at first, and then I learned the product, I learned everything about it, then I gave a serious review, and I like what virtual DJ is doing. But on the same side, I also like a lot what Serato's doing, and what Rekordbox is doing, and what algorithm is kind of impressive right now. Like their DJ software on the computer itself, like I'm really impressed by it. So I think we are at a place where there's a lot of great competition. There used to be where it's like, oh no, you use Serato, and that was pretty much it. But now there's a lot of competition. Yeah. And Serato is maybe a little bit behind, but that doesn't mean because they're behind that it's bad. Because a lot of people are like that. Oh, so come on, Serato, get it together. That's why I had to move to virtual DJ. It's like, well, what is it doing that you absolutely needed to have in your sets? You know, that Serato isn't doing. So
Well,
I grew up with Serato.
somebody's always going to be first at something, right?
Yes.
So and I think right now, I think it's a pretty even playing field. Everyone's doing good stuff. Everyone's at the top of their game. So I like it. I like the healthy competition.
Yeah, and so do I. And I know that like the stems feature is huge. And I've even talked to people at Serato and they're like, yeah, it's not like we don't see it. We know it needs to come. But, you know, they're also like, we also need to make sure that when we release it, it works across the board, you know, for everything and not just for specific songs, because there's nothing worse than utilizing something and then the song that you have, not even Serato's song, that you have in your library doesn't sound good and you blame Serato for it. Like there's nothing worse than that. So I think they're just like, we need, it's like the Apple thing. We need to make sure that it's going to do what we needed to do before we pull it on, even though Android might have it. It's not to the level that we need it to be at. And I think that's where they are.
Yeah. And there's always a reason for delays. I think people have to understand that things don't happen when they want them to. And, you know, manufacturers don't take the time on purpose. They're trying to get things out fast because it's good for them. It's in their interest. So there's always a reason. There's always more going on behind the scenes. And I know a lot about that now, having worked behind at the back end of the industry. There's always issues to solve and legalities and factory delays and all kinds of stuff, you know, that regular people aren't privy to.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think I'm kind of the same way, where when I first started my channel versus after, you know, building all these relationships and seeing people and understanding that there are differences, but, you know, because some people, you know, they would say, oh, well, you're not as hard on these people as you used to. You used to, and it's like, well, because I can't just be difficult when the product is ultimately good. Like, they're all good. They're all good products now. So I can't just, you want me to bash something that it's not really that big of a deal. Like, it might be a big deal to me, but not to the rest of the world. You know, like, I know I didn't love the 72. But it's a great mixer. I just didn't love it for myself. But there are hundreds of people that I've talked to that have been like, I love the 72. I prefer that over the S11 all day, every day. So who am I to say that you may not like it? I can only say why I don't like it. But they're all good. They're all so good nowadays. You know, it's a hard position to be in. Like, if you're trying to buy gear, like, I get it. All the way down to like the Newmark Scratch, a $500 mixer that's pretty good. You know what I mean? Where it's like, we're in a different ball game for DJ tech. We should be thanking the good Lord for where we are as DJs.
For choice. We're spoiled for choice. So many options out there. All of them valid.
Yeah. Somebody asked about the Denon Prime Go. Have you thought about doing a routine on that? Have you even had the Denon Prime Go at all?
I've never tried it. Not got my hands on it. Looks cool. Looks interesting. I like stuff like that hasn't been done. You know, I think it's hard to find pockets now in the DJ space for products to fit into, and that's something new. So yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a good controller. I just did an update video on it last week. But again, I've seen Carlo. Carlo did a full thing in the beginning of his video when it first came out, just killing it, you know. So, and by the way, Carlo,
you're next.
You are definitely next.
Nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. But speaking of products filling pockets, next week, I think it's next week, a new product from Reloop that I've personally worked on.
Okay.
So, and I think this fills a gap that a lot of people have been asking for.
Really?
So what's the space? Yeah.
We're excited. Well, yeah, I'll definitely be watching it. Angry that I didn't get a first run so I could do a review on it. But I'll definitely be watching the video. All right, let's see. A couple more questions, and then we're going to let this man go. Let's see here. somebody. Oh, is it possible to use algorithm with Prime Go? So the Prime Go does not work with any software whatsoever right now. They could turn it on because they did it for the Prime 4, but for whatever reason, the Prime Go is all standalone right now. So no, I would love for it to work with, for instance, even at a minimum like Serato, just in case. You know, I love the just in case, especially when you're out DJing. It's just you got to protect yourself. So I keep the Prime Go for myself as a backup. It sits in my bag, and then I bring something else. Okay, a couple of more questions here. I'm seeing Professor BX says 72. I can't read. I'm going to put it up. I need somebody to tell me what this is because I can't read it. I always get confused. To this day, is the mouth being open, meaning that's the bigger one or the better one, or I don't know.
Greater.
I know the little one needs the big one. It's greater than, right?
Greater than.
So the Elite is greater than the 72. Is that what Professor BX is saying? Or the other way around? Okay.
That's what.
All right, there you go. Yeah.
All right. What good questions have we got in here, guys?
Yeah, we need a couple of good questions, guys.
Give me something juicy. Come on. What you got for me?
Let's see here. You guys are going easy on him. I'm a little disappointed in the chat. If your name wasn't DJ Angelo, what would it be?
My God. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. I had another name before.
Okay.
A terrible name.
We all have.
Yeah, it's so bad. And somebody is probably called this name now, so I don't want to offend that person. But I went under the name Scratch Mo for
Scratch
Mo, M-O, just Scratch Mo, for like 1 year. And the video that you spoke of, my first YouTube video where I'm doing that battle. That's the second time I won that same battle. The first time I won, I was called Scratch Mo, and they published it in like all the magazines and DJ Mag and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, I'm stuck as DJ Scratch Mo now. I didn't even know if I was sure about it because I didn't have a name, but I put it down on the entry form and I ended up winning this battle. And then 2 years later, I went back and won the battle again. This time I left the name blank. And I won, and the host said, "What's your name?" I said, "Angelo." Give it up for DJ Angelo, and that's how it changed, and I've been DJ Angelo ever since. So it's not the most creative name, I know, guys, but it is what it is, and there's probably 100 DJ Angelos out there, but I'm trying to be the only one who does what I do. But I don't know. What would you call me if I had to change my name? I don't know. I'm really bad with. There's some great names out there, but some of them are really bad as well. So it's Who cares, man? It's the meaning you put to the name that matters.
Love Six asked. She asked, "What city that you've DJed in has the best looking females?"
Oh man, that's a tough one. This is going to get me in a lot of trouble now. Honestly, man, I don't know. Let me put it this way: I've played in every continent, and there's beautiful people in every country. Honestly, no joke, and you know that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
No, fair enough.
It's true. True story.
I'm going to throw this out there because I know it's been asked a couple of times. It's best way to remember your music with songs coming every second. That's being a DJ. I mean, I don't know if there's a best way. He's basically saying songs are coming out all the time.
Got it.
That,
well, that's part of the job, DJ Soul to Soul. Like, you know, this is the burden we carry as DJs. It is our job to know music, to store music. Like, that's our job. That's it. Like, you know, and I think with me, I have a limit to how much music I can store in my brain. Like, the more I add, some falls out the back. But the best way to remember music, man, I don't know. If you collect music you love, for a start, that's probably a good way to begin.
Yeah.
You know, like don't just grab everything out there. I mean,
I
you
think
shouldn't do
that's
that
the key.
anyway. Period.
There's
Don't
tons-
just
but
grab
there-
every song out there.
There are tons
Like-
of DJs that do that.
Oh,
They
of
go
course.
to the record pool and they're like, okay, download all. Like, but you don't even know
yeah.
the context of the songs.
So
it is what it is.
I say this a lot. I say this a lot whenever I do workshops and stuff. I say to DJs, have an opinion about your music and what music is out there. Don't just be served and take what you're served in the charts and what other DJs are playing. Like listen to the music and decide, is this good? Do I want to play it? Do I connect to this? Do I feel good playing this? Do I want other people to hear this? Don't just take everything that's out there. Have an opinion. That's it, man.
Yeah, agreed. And especially with like Twitch nowadays. Look, when Twitch first started out and all these amazing DJs and even DJs you've never even heard of, just playing amazing music, because I think that's, for me, something that I forgot. I forgot the love of music because I had my own thing. You know, you got your own little Spotify's, your Apple Musics, and that's the stuff you listen to. But then there's a whole genre of music. You're like, I wish if I were going to a club, I could hear this kind of music. And then you go on to Twitch and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, there it is. You're playing all the music that I like to hear because DJs stopped playing club music. They played music that they liked. So all of a sudden now we have all this great music. I was Shazamming like crazy. But here's the funny thing about it. I didn't pull any of that music. I Shazammed it all, and then I didn't pull any music. So now when I go back, I'm like, I can't even figure out which songs were good and which songs weren't, because it's just a big ass bucket of music now. So start with what you like. If you like it,
100%.
play that first. You know?
Yeah, and I get that you have to also play the hits occasionally, but you should be getting into this game because you love music and not just love what you're served from the majors, the radio.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, this is a good question. What's the biggest career setback you've had, and how did you overcome it?
Oh man, okay. Biggest career setback. That's a tough one to answer. I've not had anything drastic since I went on this. Well, since I went all in on DJing, but I will say that period, I think it was 2008, the time when I started doing the YouTube tutorials, where I left this well-paid job, touring the country, teaching kids in youth clubs and prisons. When I left that, I lost a huge income and I was struggling, and I was like trying to get residencies, and you know, I'm not ashamed to say I struggled. There was a time where I had to pay for groceries with pennies. You know, I got to that level, and I didn't want to run and turn to anyone. I didn't want my parents to bail me out, because I wanted to prove to them that I chose this, and this was going to work. You know, I made the right decision. And coming from an academic background, my dad was a doctor, and he wanted us all to be educated and you know, in high level jobs. So it was a big deal for me to choose DJing. So I didn't want to turn to anyone. But that was a tough time.
It's kind of a part of the culture too, like your culture and heritage. Where I would assume that I want to be a DJ. Yeah, they're like, what do you? No, you're a doctor. You're a lawyer. You're a doctor. This is what we do here. We don't go DJing. That had to been hard.
It was all about education. It was all about education for me and my siblings. We all went to university because my dad wanted that, and you know, it didn't work out for me. The academic route wasn't for me. I was always more creative. I was always more of a rule breaker, and I hated regimes and routine and schedules, and I hated early mornings. I have bad memories of trying to wake up in the morning for school, and so I knew that I had to find a way to work for myself and live by my terms as much as I could. And I think that's part of what drew me to DJing and specifically turntablism, because turntablism as an art form is built on breaking rules and being rebellious and carving like something new and creating an art form out of something that didn't exist, using technology in ways that it wasn't designed for. You know, the Technics 1200 was designed as a record player for karaoke, to play karaoke records. That's the original intention for that device. And then DJs invented DJing, and from that came turntablism. So turntablism really appealed to me because it was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this with records, but I like it, and it resonated with me, and that's it really. So I've just always wanted to be free of systems and
I like
routine and stuff like that.
Yeah. Couple more. Just to follow up with, how do you feel about so much music coming out so fast? Music's not coming out fast.
Man,
it's coming out the same. We're just exposed to more of it. It's just there now.
I don't know,
man.
I think it's coming out faster now because more people are making music now. Before, if you think back in the day, people didn't know how to produce. Like the regular people didn't know how to.
They still don't necessarily know how to produce. There's just more music coming out.
Yeah. I mean, it's good and bad, isn't it? It's good and bad because there's more good stuff coming out, but there's also more bad stuff coming out. And there's more people making it, more people starting producing. There's more talent coming out and developing, which is a good thing.
When I was producing my albums and everything was, you had to get the major label, you had to do all this stuff. You don't have to do that anymore. So we're being exposed to more music just because we don't have the big late major wall that stops music from going out and it goes to die. Like anybody can make an album now. And it might be big without a label.
Anyone can put it out, independently, create your own wave, create your own fan base, completely bypass labels. I think that's amazing. Yeah. So I love that music is coming out, frequently, but it just makes life hard to sift through everything to find what you like. But we have tools now, such as algorithms, and Spotify, for example, suggesting music that's based on your behavior. Yeah. Things like that are giving us shortcuts to counteract the influx of music. So it's a good time overall, I would say.
Right. All right. Last question.
Last one. Make it a good one.
This is actually a very, very good question. And by the way, for the people that I didn't answer or post your questions, it's probably because we already answered the question in the video. So make sure you guys go back to the beginning and watch it from start to finish, and then you'll get your questions answered. And a third. This is another good one. He's on it, and I'm hearing the static come back. So this is perfect time to see if we can pull that thing out of view. It sounds like a ground wire. Hold on. And let's bring it back. It's literally. It's almost like a cell phone. It's almost like a cell phone is going off, and then it goes away. So it's like something's connecting, and then it turns off, whatever it is. Okay, so it's gone. All right, so last question is, how important is keeping your integrity versus getting bucks for playing shit music? And I'm gonna expand this a little bit because I'm gonna say it's not just about music, but just creatively, like how important is integrity versus making that dollar to, for instance, continue to live?
Right. That's a good question, and I think, and the third, I guess, as you're asking the question, you probably don't want to play music you don't like, right? And before I answer that, there are plenty of DJs who are okay with playing music they don't like, and they make a good living doing that, and they can go to sleep at night and it doesn't bother them. So if that's your thing, go for it, because that's required as well. But if you're one of those DJs who is trying to do your thing, put your art out there, you have to find the balance, right? There's no point starving to death because you're trying to keep it real. Let's be honest, right? Real talk now, right? There's no real money in the underground, right? Yeah. All the money is in the overground. So I believe there has to be some level of balance between paying the bills and doing putting out art for the sake of art. And you have to find your way of doing that. And that may mean playing 2 nights a week of music you don't like, but then the other 5 days you do you, right? It's kind of like pleasure and pain. It's balance. Life is all about balance. We don't get to do all we want, all we like all the time. So, try to find out what your level, what your threshold is of how much you're prepared to hate your job or do what you don't enjoy.
Yes.
And just don't cross that line. Know what it is. Know what your threshold is, and don't cross it. And there've been times that I have turned things down that have taken me too far over that. And it's personal for everyone. But very, very few people get to do 100% what they like all the time. Very few. But you can you can aim for that. You can work towards that. And it takes work. And I think people are achieving it in the DJ space nowadays.
Yeah, and you can
I'm
also
not far
find,
off that.
Mm-hmm. But you can find happiness in the pain also. Because I know a lot of people, they're like, I just don't want to play this crappy music. But I DJ a lot of private events and corporate events. And, there's a lot of music that I don't maybe want to play. But once you start finding joy in just doing the craft, be more creative with what you're doing. Find ways to make the stuff.
Make this music fun for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one way. And also, it's a matter of perspective as well. What's the alternative?
Right.
If you're playing whattever, something you hate, let's just pick Migos again.
Ouch.
If you're playing,
I won't play reggaeton for all the girl in the world. Ouch.
All right.
What's wrong with reggaeton?
So this guy has his threshold. He's not going there. He's not doing reggaeton. But you may be willing to play something you don't like, because the alternative to that is not having that job and doing a job that you really hate that has nothing to do with DJing. So you have to kind of weigh it up, Cleveland?
Right. I'm here. You're on mute. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Family, we're bleeding into family time, so that's what happens.
Oh damn! My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's not you. It's not you. Okay, so it's like grand music. I DJ small events, big events, and there's always music that I don't necessarily want to play, especially like the new hip hop. We'll do a bar mitzvah and the kids are all into the new hip hop. I got to play it. At first, I wanted absolutely nothing to do with that garbage. Honestly, I was like, this is trash. Where's the musicality? They're not even engineering the music. It's distorted. Like, everything about it is wrong. And then you continue to play, and you have to train your mind a little bit to say, you know what? I know it's not for me, but I can still see why somebody else would like it. And then I started enjoying the music for what I knew it could do to other people, not for what it could do for me. Mm-hmm. But I could go, wow, that song is definitely a hit for them. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to play this song. So you have to look. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you. I mean, DJ TLM and I have gotten into this about the fact that he's like, nope, I don't play any music I don't like. So if I do that, it's gonna throw off my integrity. And I get it. He's in a different place. But not everybody can be in that place where you have the ability or the option to just play stuff that you like. And you can do that and be like, sorry, I only play what I like. And they're like, okay, then we just won't book you. And then what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's not forget the line of work we're in.
Yes.
We play
people
music
pleasing.
to people. We are of a service to an audience.
Right.
So sometimes we've got to remind ourselves of that and, just bite the bullet occasionally, As long as you don't, ruin yourself in the process. Like, like psychologically. Like if you do too much of stuff that you don't like and don't enjoy, then that's bad for you. But you've got to balance it out, I guess.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I
agreed.
don't know, man.
Okay. This one keeps popping up, so I'm gonna ask this as the last question. How old were you when you first saw GMF scratching in his kitchen in the movie Wild Style?
Man, I don't even remember. I don't know. I don't think it was when I was like mad young. I don't know. I didn't grow up with MTV. I didn't have, much access to US hip hop and US culture even. Just US sitcoms and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, keep in mind that
us Europeans, we grow up differently, man.
He was all in the trance in the beginning. That's what he was saying. So
exactly, man.
it is what it is. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it. So Angelo, hey man. First off, I do want to say thank you for coming on today. It's been amazing.
Eventually,
and 3 hours and almost 45 minutes later.
God damn.
Yeah, I'd like to think that it's because I provide a very comfortable atmosphere too, so you don't want to leave.
Yeah,
I gotta scratch my own back.
It's therapeutic. It is therapeutic to talk with like-minded people about this because we're kind of solo players, aren't we? For
we
a
really
lot of
are.
the time. So yeah, it's good. This is good.
Yeah. People don't realize it. Not even just DJing, but like the whole YouTube space. Like it's a whole different world out there, and it's really hard to find like-minded people because I'm sure you did have the same thing when you first started doing your videos. People were like, "Oh, you should do this and you should do that, and why you do this, and maybe you should shift." There's all these people that have all of these opinions on what you should do, and most of those people aren't in. Yeah, they're not in the space. They're not there.
Do you? That's one takeaway I want all of you to take away is just try to block out all the external noise that is happening. Because the people who are pushing opinions are the ones who aren't doing anything themselves most of the time.
Agreed.
So just make it happen. Do you? And one thing I want to say before I leave, actually, it's a bit of a shameless plug, but it's actually with good intention. With good intentions. I've just made a brand new DJ course that I've been working on for months during lockdown, and I filmed it 2 weeks ago. I partnered with Digital DJ Tips, and it's coming out at the end of April. And it's a course that I've taken my time to make based on what I think DJs need. Because I think a lot of DJs hit a brick wall in terms of creativity and how to mix creatively and how to be musical and how to incorporate technique into sets that can also work for a dance floor. So it's a very much practical course. It's a big course as well, something like 30 videos.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, man, it's the real deal. I put a lot into it, and anyone who knows me and my teaching styles will know that I don't mess around with when it comes to education. So I'm proud of it. I've worked really hard on it, and yeah, it's coming out soon. If anyone would be interested. I'm not pushing it hard. I let the product speak for itself. But yeah, look out for it.
And that's on the Digital DJ Tips.
It's
website?
called Tricks and Transitions. That's the name of the course. Yeah, it will be coming out towards the end of April.
Gotcha. Perfect. That works, man. Hey, guys, if you found this chat amazing, and I did too, because I'm a huge fan of Angelo. Throw the wake ups in the chat. Throw the ones in the chat if you don't have the wake up emotes. And let's show this guy some love. He's, he had to come out of his burrow to get on here.
My cave, yeah. my annual outing from my creative cave.
Yes, so I appreciate it. Honestly, I appreciate it. And, obviously under different circumstances, this could have been completely different as far as the world is so different now. And I hope that we get kind of back to some semblance of normalcy, within the next few months, hopefully. Because how long can we? I can do this because I'm kind of that introvert extrovert guy. I'm completely fine being in my studio, making content all day. That's just me.
And this is why you're quite important right now, Cleveland. You know, doing stuff like this, it's keeping us all kind of together and sane. You know.
Well, thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. I rate it highly.
I appreciate that. So make sure you text Carlo, and make sure I'm DMing him literally like right after this. And because
Carlo's way too busy making 6 videos a day or something, whatever he's doing. Crazy work ethic.
And the quality is so good every time. Drives me nuts. He drives me nuts.
No, he's
really
working
good.
hard. I see the work there for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. It means a lot. I see a lot of love there, so I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Stay tuned, man. I've got loads planned. So
we will be watching and
be safe out
maybe
there.
even so, because I am doing this whole. I have to plan it out yet, but I'm still trying to do my year of DJing. I'm going to start incorporating new people, and I want to start incorporating people like you and Scratch Bastards and all those people to kind of be in the videos to try to help out a little bit. So because I think it's been working. We'll talk about it.
I'm intrigued.
All right, let's do it. All right, Angelo, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Make sure he does have DJ Angelo as far as Twitch is concerned. He's not streaming yet, but just in case, mods throw his stuff in the chat. Throw his stuff in the chat. Make sure you follow him.
For the most part, I'm leaving that to some of you guys who are killing it out there.
Fair enough.
It's true. You guys, so many people are doing a great job there, so I'm leaving that to you guys.
Fair enough. All right, buddy. We're gonna let you go. Thank you so much for hanging on today. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon, man. DJ Angelo, everybody. All right. So that was a fantastic interview. I want to thank DJ Angelo for coming on today because let me make sure that there's music on there. Because he didn't have to, and I know I give people a hard time, and I make jokes. I'm a joke guy about coming on. I don't expect anybody to come on just because I asked them to. Like, I'm not that guy. I understand that. I'm working on it. It's moving up. The thing is happening, but still, I know I'm not that guy. So anybody that comes on, I am genuinely appreciative of. And these guys are all what I consider to be. I'm big fans of. Just honestly big fans of everybody that I bring on. So, we're going to keep doing it. Monday, it is Monday. Wednesday, we got on 916 Junglist. He is in the chat. We got him on Wednesday. So that should be dope. And then Thursday, we will finally have, Caution is Heavy in the stream here. I want to raid somebody. I see Nightmare is on. Moody Monday. How moody is Moody Monday? Oh, she's playing like moody. All right, we're gonna raid. Let's raid. I don't know. Do you guys want to raid? You guys want to do Moody Monday? Oh, speaking of, tonight. Quarantine DJs on the DJ Bar site. Yes, it is happening tonight. That's at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock today. 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. So if you guys are down for that, make sure you hang. Look, that thing is a carnival. It is a carnival ride on that show. We just talk shit the whole time. Look, hey guys, I can't interview lesser known unless I know about them. So you're going to see tons of people that I maybe won't interview because I just don't know them. It has nothing to do with them. It has to do with me. You know what I mean? So I'm continuing. Lesser known DJs, look, when it's all said and done, 916 Junglist is a lesser known DJ. I mean, he's not Angelo. He's not Scratch Bastard. He's still lesser. I had AK-47 on a couple of weeks ago. She's definitely a lesser known DJ. So it's never about. I like to bring people on that I appreciate and that I think are dope and I think that has something to say. I've rated TLM, so I can't rate TLM. I want to rate somebody different today. So I think we're gonna rate Ninja. We haven't rated Ninja in a long time, but I just rated TLM. Ethan, thank you for the 5-piece, man. Appreciate that. That's super dope. I'm not missing a trick. I do upload them to YouTube. In all honesty, I've just been a little busy because usually when I do these videos, I have to cut them up or YouTube will demonetize them. So I have to just make sure that they're there. But trust me, I try to bring on everybody. So if I happen to be on and I like what they're doing, like there's a drummer that I really like. He's on here. I'm gonna bring him on, or at least I'm gonna ask him because he's dope, and I think he's gonna be able to provide a lot to the community. So that's kind of what it is. I never really wanted this just to be a DJ show. Honestly, I wanted to branch off because there's a lot of people on Twitch that are maybe trying to learn, and there's some people out there that are doing far larger numbers than we ever could. And having quarantine DJs is YouTube only, so that'll be on the DJ Bar site on YouTube. XMG review is coming soon. Hopefully, maybe this week. I have like 4 other videos I got to get out too. So we're gonna be raiding off to Miss Ninja. Make sure you stay for the raid. Throw in the chat my emotes. Let her know where you're coming from. I will be back on Wednesday. I might do a pop-up DJ tomorrow, maybe. But I'll be back on Wednesday with 916 Junglist, followed by Caution is Heavy on Thursday. All right, y'all. See you soon. Peace out.